Hello, dear listener. Welcome back to MoonieGuide. I'm so glad you're here. Before we begin, take a slow, deep breath, settle into your space, and allow your mind to drift. Feel the gentle weight of the blankets, the quiet stillness of the air, and let the soft rhythm of my voice become the only thing you need to focus on. If you genuinely enjoy these stories, please subscribe as it helps motivates me to make more of these videos for you. Do leave a comment telling me where you're listening from. It's amazing to see how this platform brings people from all over the world to tune in for unwinding from their hectic day. Before we start, I want you to let go of any excessive thoughts that are hovering over you and completely let loose, relaxing your body and focusing on your breath. Now that you're tucked in, we're continuing our Greek mythology series, and this is part 2, the longer and deeper part of our journey through Greek mythology, the timeless story of gods, creation, and destiny. We will travel through the very fabric of existence, exploring the origins of Greek mythologies along with a few tales passed on over decades. I want to take you with me on this slow, restful journey to Mount Olympus, into the earliest whispers of existence, the primordial whispers. Imagine, if you will, the deepest, softest silence. A silence so complete it is not merely the absence of sound, but the presence of utter, gentle nothingness. This was chaos, the yawning, boundless void from which all things would one day gently emerge. It was a dreaming darkness, quiet and full of potential. From this deep, silent gulf, the very first presences began to stir, not with a sudden burst, but with the slow, inevitable unfolding of eons. The first to find form and substance was Gaia, the earth. She was the foundation, the firm and gentle ground beneath everything, the Great Mother. Imagine the quiet strength of mountains rising slowly, the soft green of a gentle slope. That is Gaia, vast and solid beneath you. Alongside her, two profound essences quietly materialized. There was Tartarus, the deep, shadowy pit beneath the world, a place of soft, silent dread, far below even the roots of the earth. And then there was Eros, the soft, gentle urge, the irresistible power of attraction, the very force that would gently weave all the scattered elements into creation. Without Eros, nothing would ever move, nothing would ever join, and the story could not begin. Soon, other quiet presences stirred forth from the endless slumber of chaos. There was Erebus, the deep, encompassing darkness of the underworld, a gentle shadow that filled all the empty spaces, and his counterpart, Nyx, the night itself, a veiled, starry presence that drifted over the newly forming world, bringing soft, gentle sleep. From the quiet, deep union of Erebus and Nyx, two beautiful children were brought forth, children of shadow and gentle dark. Aetha, the upper celestial light, the pure, high air of the gods, luminous and soft. And Hemera, the soft, comforting day, who would chase her mother, Nyx, around the world in an eternal, rhythmic, gentle cycle, ensuring that darkness and light always followed one another in perfect, sleepy sequence. And so, the stage was set, a world built on stillness, shadow, and a foundational, deep earth. Gaia, the first and greatest mother, felt a gentle yearning, a deep, quiet desire for a canopy, for a partner. She needed a sky to arch above her. The quiet reign of Uranus all by herself, without a partner, Gaia brought forth Uranus, the starry heaven. He was the perfect arch, the brilliant, swirling blue dome that covered her green and brown expanse. He stretched out above her, a lover and a husband, and from their slow, vast, cosmic union, the next great generation began to stir in the deep womb of the world. The children of Gaia and Uranus were colossal, silent forces of nature, the Titans. Imagine beings as old as the oldest bedrock, as vast as the quiet horizon, each embodying a profound, essential aspect of the cosmos. They were 12 in number, 6 mighty sons and 6 powerful daughters, born from the earliest, most primordial love. Let us whisper their names softly, like distant thunder. The sons were Oceanus, whose body was the endless river that gently circled the world, the father of all waters always flowing. Next came Coeus, the titan of intellect and the axis of the heavens, a quiet, thoughtful presence. There was Creus, a quiet, powerful figure whose name whispers of flocks and nature, a god of the gentle order of the land. Hyperion was the radiant one, whose brow shone softly, and who would become the father of the sun, the moon, and the gentle dawn. Epetus was a strong, quiet force whose name echoes with the act of piercing and who would father the generations of mortals. And then there was the youngest, the most complex, the one who would bring a gentle stillness to the rule of his father, Cronus. He was the Titan of time, but not the rushing time we know, but the slow, deep, sleeping, measured time of the ages. The daughters of Gaia and Uranus were equally magnificent. Tethys was the quiet mother of the great rivers and the 3,000 Oceanids, the gentle nymphs of the sea, the perfect. Counterpart to Oceanus, Phoebe was the golden-crowned Titan of the bright moon in prophecy, known for her tranquil wisdom and quiet, clear sight. Theia was the Titaness of sight, who gave gold, silver, and sparkling jewels their intrinsic, gentle luster, the one who gave the world its soft shine. Themis was the embodiment of divine law and order, a quiet voice of justice and gentle tradition, who knew the right way for all things to be done. Mnemosyne was the soft, all-knowing memory itself, the keeper of all stories and histories, the quiet mother of inspiration. And finally, there was Rhea, a beautiful, flowing Titaness whose name means flow or ease. Often associated with the abundance of the earth, she would be the mother of the greatest gods of the next age. But the vast, encompassing love between Gaia and Uranus turned to a gentle, sorrowful possessiveness. Uranus, the sky, was so fearful and so complete in his dominion that he would not allow his children, the Titans, to be born. He kept them pressed back into the dark, silent womb of the earth, Gaia, causing her endless, muffled pain. The silent separation Gaia, the great, suffering mother, sighed and wept softly within herself, a sorrow that shook the very foundations of the world. She called to her children, seeking a gentle hand to bring release from her suffering. The weight of the world pressed down on her, and her quiet plea was heard only by the dark, heavy silence. It was the youngest, Cronus, the Titan of deep time, who finally listened. He was given a great, curved silver sickle, a weapon of ancient harvest, silent and sharp. And in a moment of great, slow cosmic change, in a deep stillness that marked the end of an era, Cronus gently separated his father, Uranus, from his mother, Gaia. As Uranus was lifted away, the sky separating from the earth forevermore, the power and essence of the ancient father drifted down like gentle rain. Where the drops fell upon the gentle sea, Aphrodite, the goddess of soft, radiant beauty, love, and desire, was quietly born from the ocean foam, rising like a pearlescent dream onto the shore. Where the drops touched the earth, they sprang forth new, wilder beings. The three great, one-eyed giants, the Cyclopes, appeared, masters of the forge and the soft, deep thunderbolt. And the three fearsome, hundred-handed giants, the Hecatonchires, whose strength was beyond reckoning, also emerged from the earth's soft sorrow. With Uranus banished to the upper reaches of the sky, a new age of tranquility began, the Golden Age. Cronus and his sister wife, Rhea, ascended to the quiet throne, and the Titans governed the world in a time of gentle perfection. It was an age where mortals lived long, did not age, and felt no sorrow. There was a quiet, slow perfection to all things. The quiet dread of Cronus, yet, the wheel of destiny is never still. Cronus, the new ruler, heard a prophecy, a soft, insistent whisper in the air, that he, too, would be overthrown by one of his own children, just as he had overthrown his father. And so, as his children were born to Rhea, he, in his quiet dread, would gently and silently swallow each one whole, trapping them in his own vast, dark interior. He believed that by keeping them within him, he could stop the slow, inevitable movement of time. Rhea watched her bobbies disappear into the darkness, and a deep sorrow settled over her heart. She bore 6 children in all, the future rulers of the world. First came the gentle goddess of the hearth, Hestia, the quiet flame of home. Then the mighty, deep god of the oceans, Poseidon, whose voice was the gentle roar of the waves. The third was the mournful, queenly goddess of the harvest, Demeter, the spirit of the green and growing things. Next was the quiet, chilling god of the underworld, Hades, the unseen ruler of the silent dead. And then a final son and a final daughter. When the 6th child, Zeus, was about to be born, Rhea finally sought the solace of her mother, Gaia. Gaia told her to go to the gentle, hidden island of Crete, a place of deep, soft secrecy. There, in the deep silence of a cave, Rhea gave birth to Zeus. To deceive Cronus, she wrapped a stone tightly in swaddling clothes and presented it to her husband, who, not noticing the difference in his sleepy haste and quiet paranoia, swallowed the stone, believing he had swallowed his final son. The dawn of Olympus, the infant Zeus was raised in secret, nourished by gentle nymphs, and protected by the rhythmic, clanging dances of the Curetes, whose sounds drowned out the baby's soft cries, ensuring that Cronus would never know. He grew quickly, strong and bright, the child of destiny, nurtured on mountain honey and the gentle milk of the goat Amalthea. When the time was right, a time marked by the slow turning of the stars, Zeus sought his mother, Rhea, and together they made a quiet, careful plan. Zeus gave Cronus a soft, gentle potion that caused him to become overwhelmingly sick. In his sickness, Cronus slowly and gently brought forth all the children he had swallowed, one by one, like a deep cough releasing heavy memories. First came the stone he had swallowed last, and then his children, now fully grown, emerged into the light: Hades, Poseidon, Hera, Demeter, and Hestia. They were the first generation of Olympians, so named because they would make their gentle home on the high, cloud-shrouded peak of Mount Olympus, a quiet place of divine light. This slow, gentle return marked the beginning of the Titanomachy, the great, long, quiet war between the older generation, the Titans, and the newer, stronger generation, the Olympians. It was a war of eons, of shifting alliances, fought with the sound of distant thunder and the slow, deep movements of the earth. Zeus freed the powerful Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires from Tartarus, offering them release from their silent prison. They, in gratitude, gave the Olympians their greatest weapons, forged in the deep, quiet heat of their underworld forges. To Zeus, they gave the crackling, bright thunderbolt. To Poseidon, the mighty trident that could shake the seas. And to Hades, the gentle helm of darkness, which granted him invisibility and the quiet ability to move unseen. The Olympians, aided by their newly found allies, eventually prevailed. The Titans, including Cronus, were quietly banished to the deepest pit of the cosmos, Tartarus. And so, the age of the Titans came to a soft, solemn close, and the age of the Olympians began, ushering in the next, more complicated family chapter. The Olympian ascendancy and the divine family, the slow, quiet war was finally over. The Titans were gently subdued, resting deep in their silence, and the new world was ready to be divided. Zeus, the mighty but complex ruler, took his place as the gentle king of the gods. He drew lots with his two brothers to quietly divide the cosmos, making sure the transition was gentle, fair, and soft. Hades received the realm of the silent underworld, the kingdom of the dead, a place of quiet, cool shadows and deep, unending stillness. Poseidon gained the vast, shimmering oceans, ruling over the endless waves and the soft, rhythmic tides. And Zeus took the high sky and the ultimate authority over all the gods and the quick, fleeting lives of mortals. The three brothers, the lords of the sky, the sea, and the hidden earth, settled into their domains. Let us now trace the family lines of these new rulers, for their connections are as tangled and beautiful as a summer vine, slowly winding their way through the fabric of the universe. Zeus eventually married his sister, the magnificent Hera, the goddess of marriage, family, and childbirth. She was the rightful queen of Olympus, a powerful, magnificent presence, but she was often filled with quiet, deep resentment. This sorrow stemmed from Zeus's many romantic wanderings, his gentle, fleeting connections with nymphs and mortal women across the quiet world. Despite the tensions that often cast a soft shadow over their cloud-woven palace, their formal union brought forth several important deities, born to the sound of soft mountain winds and distant celestial music. First, there was Ares, the gentle, often savage god of war. His spirit was restless, primal, a quiet, sometimes brutal force that pulsed with the energy of conflict. Next came Hebe, the soft, quiet goddess of youth, whose task was to serve the gentle nectar and ambrosia, the food of immortality, to the gods. She was the eternal cupbearer. They also brought forth Eileithyia, the gentle goddess who watches over the slow, tender process of labor and birth, ensuring that life unfolds with quiet care. And some stories tell us that they were the parents of Hephaestus, the quiet, masterful smith god of the forge and fire. Though other, older tales softly whisper that Hera brought him forth alone, in a moment of solitary creation, to prove her power equal to Zeus's. Hephaestus, the gentle craftsman, was a god of immense talent, a master of metal and flame, despite being slight of build and having a gentle, soft limp. He was married to Aphrodite, the beautiful goddess who had quietly risen from the sea foam. This wedding, a gentle contrast, was often arranged to calm his anger after a time of conflict with his parents. The union of the smoky craftsman and the goddess of soft desire was a beautiful, strange harmony, the quiet power of the forge next to the gentle beauty of the sea. the weaving threads of Zeus's progeny, but the great lineage of Zeus extended far beyond his marriage with Hera, weaving through the whole of the cosmos, touching the oldest beings and the newest spirits alike. Before Hera, Zeus had quietly united with Medes, the goddess of thoughtful prudence and gentle wisdom. Fearing a prophecy that a child born to Medes would one day overthrow him, Zeus swallowed Medes whole, much as his father, Cronus, had swallowed his own children. However, Medes was already pregnant. In time, a mighty, silent headache seized Zeus, a pressure in the clouds. And from his own forehead, fully grown and armored, sprang Athena, the brilliant goddess of strategic war, quiet wisdom, and the gentle crafts of weaving and pottery. Athena, with her calm, gray eyes, was her father's favorite, a child of pure intellect and gentle strategy, who never knew the sorrow of a mother's birth. With the gentle Titaness Themis, the Titaness of divine law, Zeus brought forth the Houri, the soft, gentle goddesses of the seasons, Eunomia, Dike, and Irene, who ensured the quiet, rhythmic unfolding of the year. And from this same quiet union, the three silent, stern fates, the Moirai were born: Clotho, who gently spun the thread of life; Lachesis, who slowly measured its length; and Atropos, who silently cut it short. They were beings of deep, immutable power, above even the gentle rule of Zeus. With the quiet Oceanid Eurynome, Zeus became the father of the three Graces, Charites, the beautiful, gentle spirits of charm, beauty, and quiet joy, always seen moving together in soft, harmonious circles. And with the deep Titaness Mnemosyne, the goddess of memory, Zeus journeyed for 9 tranquil, starlit nights, an act of creation dedicated to the history of the world. From this deep union came the 9 Muses, the gentle, soft-voiced patrons of all the arts, sciences, and inspiration, whose names echo with soft music and quiet creativity. With the Titaness Leto, Zeus brought forth the radiant twins, born on the small, quiet island of Delos. First, Apollo, the gentle, beautiful god of the sun, music, prophecy, poetry, and healing, whose voice was like soft, resonant chords, who guided the gentle light of morning. And then his twin sister, Artemis, the quiet, fierce goddess of the hunt, the crescent moon, and the wild, untamed wilderness, forever pure, forever gentle, forever free in the quiet woods. The lineage continued with other great powers. With the gentle nymph Maia, a daughter of the Titan Atlas, Zeus brought forth Hermes, the quick, soft-footed messenger of the gods, wearing soft, winged sandals. He was the gentle guide for travelers and souls into the underworld, and the patron of commerce, language, and quiet trickery. And from his union with Demeter, the goddess of the harvest, Zeus brought forth Persephone, the gentle maiden of spring. Persephone was the quiet joy of her mother, forever gathering soft flowers in the gentle meadows. But this gentle peace was not to last. Persephone would later be quietly carried away by her uncle, Hades, to be his queen in the silent, deep underworld. A journey that would eternally mark the coming and going of the seasons, the soft sorrow of Demeter creating the cold pause of winter. The silent lords and their families let us now turn to the brothers of Zeus, resting in their vast, quiet kingdoms. Poseidon, the god of the deep, blue sea, also had his own soft, watery progeny. From his official union with the beautiful Nereid Amphitrite, the queen of the sea, he brought forth Triton, the gentle, deep-voiced messenger of the sea, who carried a twisting conch shell, its sound the soft music of the waves. Poseidon was also the father of many powerful, sometimes monstrous, beings through his quiet connections with the nymphs and mortals of the shore, a testament to the powerful, restless nature of the sea. And Hades, the quiet, invisible ruler of the dead, had his gentle family, though his world was one of stillness. His queen was Persephone, and while their union did not often bring forth new gods, their partnership was the quiet, necessary axis around which the world of the dead revolved. Persephone was the gentle bridge between the vibrant, loud world of the living and the deep, silent realm of the departed. Even Aphrodite, the gentle, beautiful goddess of love who rose from the ocean foam, had her own complex, soft-winged children. Her most famous son was Eros, who is sometimes seen as the older primordial deity, but in the Olympian age is the soft-shooting god of erotic love and desire, whose arrows inspire gentle, uncontrollable passion. Her quiet connection with the mortal Anchises brought forth Aeneas, the gentle hero who would survive the burning, mournful fall of Troy, and eventually seed the great, quiet line of the Romans, carrying the gentle torch of destiny into a new land. The soft transition to mortals, the lines of the Olympians, now fully established, began to gently turn their gaze toward the fleeting, beautiful world of mortals. This next epic marks the great age of demigods and heroes, where the divine blood mingled with the human dust, creating lives of quiet tragedy and immense glory. The gods themselves quietly intervened, weaving their powerful, gentle essence into the human tapestry. The great source of these heroic lines was, once again, Zeus, whose gentle, frequent descents to the mortal world created a dynasty of heroes whose names still echo softly on the wind. One of his most famous mortal sons was Heracles, born from the union of Zeus and the gentle princess Alcmene. Heracles was a champion of impossible strength, a quiet, gentle force of nature whose life was a long, slow journey of labor and quiet trials set for him by the gentle, but often vengeful Hera. His strength was a soft, inevitable power, and his gentle deeds, the 12 labors, purified the world of its old, savage chaos. Another great son of Zeus was Perseus, born from the beautiful princess Danae, whom Zeus visited in the soft form of a golden shower, flowing gently into her hidden chamber. Perseus was the quiet, determined slayer of the monstrous Gorgon Medusa and the gentle rescuer of the princess Andromeda, whose line would lead to the kings of Mycenae, a dynasty built on quiet courage. Zeus's gentle, quiet connection with the Spartan queen Leda brought forth two sets of siblings, often mingled in soft starlight, Castor and Pollux, the gentle twin stars of the Gemini constellation, and the famous sisters Helen, whose beauty launched 1,000 gentle ships, and Clytemnestra. Poseidon, too, had his share of mortal offspring. The gentle hero Theseus, the king of Athens and the quiet, brave slayer of the terrifying Minotaur in the deep, silent labyrinth, was often said to be the son of both the mortal king Aegeus and the deep-sea god Poseidon, granting him both earthly and divine wisdom, a gentle master of both land and tide. Even the quieter gods touched the mortal world with their presence. Apollo, the radiant sun god, was the father of the gentle Orpheus, the quiet, soft-singing musician whose lyre could charm the very rocks and trees, and whose music led him on a gentle, sorrowful quest into the silent, deep underworld to retrieve his lost love. And the gentle goddess of love, Aphrodite, through her soft, quiet relationship with the beautiful mortal Adonis, had her own tragic, beautiful lineage, marked by the eternal cycle of love, loss, and the soft return of spring flowers. The final, soft threads of the mythical family tree lead us to the long, slow, mournful 10 years of the Trojan War, where the great families of gods and heroes met their collective destiny, a conflict whose shadows still stretch across the soft sand of time. The quiet, mighty Achilles, the greatest of the Greek heroes, was the son of the gentle Nereid Thetis and the mortal king Peleus, a hero whose destiny was woven by the fates to be short and glorious. His life, a sudden, bright, gentle flame extinguished too soon. The quiet echoes of the primordials, Chaos, Gaia, Nyx, receded into the deepest, softest background. The Titans remained in their gentle, silent exile. And the Olympians, though immortal, began to govern a world that was slowly moving beyond their direct, gentle rule. The mortal houses and the threads of fate as the divine family settled into the quiet governance of Olympus, their soft shadows stretched down to the sunlit world of men. The next chapters of this gentle story are woven from the direct children of the gods, the demigods, whose lives were marked by destiny, sorrow, and unforgettable deeds. This is where the mighty blood of Zeus, Poseidon, and Apollo began to flow through the great mortal royal houses, creating dynasties destined for quiet fame or deep tragedy. We must speak now of the slow, turning threads of the Moirai, the Fates, who spun and measured the lives of all. For even the children of the gods could not escape the deep, immutable patterns set by these quiet, stern sisters. Let us turn our gentle attention to the most fabled lines, those houses founded on a gentle connection with Olympus, yet cursed by human flaw. The line of Perseus, the son of Zeus and Danae, quietly established the great kingdom of Mycenae. From this house, though many generations removed, would spring the famed Atreides, Agamemnon and Menelaus, whose sorrowful family drama would eventually ignite the terrible, long silence of the Trojan War. Agamemnon, the quiet commander, and Menelaus, the king whose wife, Helen, was the daughter of Zeus and Leda, found their destiny inescapable, tied to a lineage both glorious and cursed. The gentle blood of Zeus flowed through them, but so did the quiet darkness of human jealousy and ambition. The gentle line of Thebes, another great, sorrowful family line, was that of Thebes, a city built by Cadmus, a Phoenician prince whose sister, Europa, had been carried away by Zeus in the soft form of a white bull. Cadmus, in his quest for his sister, founded Thebes, a city often touched and often tormented by the hand of the gods. Thebes was home to the tragic tale of Oedipus, a story of deep, gentle irony and faded sorrow, a family whose quiet attempts to escape prophecy only drew them deeper into its web. Though not direct children of the Olympians, this house's quiet suffering was a direct consequence of divine meddling and the heavy, soft weight of ancient curses. We see the quiet, gentle presence of Dionysus here, too. Dionysus, the god of wine, frenzy, and ecstatic release, was the son of Zeus and the mortal princess Semele. He was the only Olympian born of a mortal mother, a soft bridge between the two realms. His birth was dramatic and quiet. Semele, tricked by Hera, asked to see Zeus in his full glory and was instantly consumed by the soft, terrible power of the thunderbolt. Zeus saved their unborn child and stitched him gently into his own thigh, ensuring his quiet, dual nature, both deeply divine and softly human. Dionysus's lineage in Thebes cast a quiet, wild, and unpredictable light upon that city's fate. The great son of Zeus, Heracles. Now let us linger on the greatest, most enduring son of Zeus, the epitome of the heroic age, Heracles. Born of the beautiful Queen Alcmene, Heracles was destined for greatness, but also for endless, quiet torment, a testament to Hera's lingering jealousy over Zeus's infidelity. Hera pursued Heracles with a quiet, relentless vengeance, shaping his entire life into a series of impossible trials. Heracles was the hero of immense, gentle strength, often performing acts of quiet, simple power. But the core of his story is his long, slow journey of purification, the 12 labors. These labors, set by the timid King Eurystheus under Hera's influence, were quiet, impossible tasks. He wrestled the soft, mighty Nemean lion, wearing its pelt as his cloak. He fought the many heads of the Lernaean Hydra, whose blood was quiet poison. He captured the swift, gentle Cyrenian hind, sacred to Artemis. He cleansed the vast, filthy Augean stables in a single day, diverting a river with simple, gentle force. Each labor was a quiet struggle, a test not just of muscle, but of gentle endurance and ingenuity. These deeds established the pattern for all heroes to follow, a life dedicated to service, sacrifice, and the quiet, unending battle against chaos. Even in his death, Heracles was unique. After a life of gentle suffering and immense deeds, Zeus eventually welcomed him to Olympus as a full god, a true immortal. He became the quiet protector of heroes, and even reconciled with Hera, a final, gentle peace settling over their ancient conflict. His elevation marked the quiet, gentle high-water mark of divine and mortal union. The soft lineage of Achilles, we turn now to a hero whose connection was less to Zeus and more to the deep, blue sea, Achilles. He was the son of the mortal King Peleus and the sea nymph Thetis. Thetis, a gentle, beautiful Nereid, knew her son's destiny. The fates had whispered his fate, a choice between a long, quiet, unremembered life or a short, bright, glorious one. Thetis, in her soft mother's love, tried gently to make him immortal, dipping him into the soft, sacred waters of the river Styx, holding him only by his heel, the one small spot where the waters did not touch. Achilles, born of the sea and destined for the sand, was the quiet center of the Trojan War. His friend was Patroclus, and their bond was one of the deepest, most sorrowful, gentle loyalties of the age. The war itself was the culmination of all these interwoven family lines. It was ostensibly fought over Helen, the daughter of Zeus, who had been taken by the Trojan prince, Paris. But in truth, it was a quiet, complex struggle orchestrated by the gods themselves, a vast, gentle family feud played out on the plains of Troy. Hera and Athena, remembering Paris's insult, quietly favored the Greeks. Aphrodite, remembering his compliment, gently favored the Trojans. Poseidon swayed the quiet balance of the battlefield, while Apollophon sent soft, silent plague to the Greek camp. Even Zeus, the father of all, watched from his throne, allowing the tragic, gentle destiny of his many descendants to unfold. The retreat of the gods and the age of man as the Trojan War ended, bringing quiet sorrow to both victor and vanquished, the age of heroes began its long, gentle fade. The surviving heroes, Odysseus, Aeneas, the children of the returning kings, found their lives filled with quiet wandering and deep melancholy. The great families, once so intimately connected to the gentle light of Olympus, found those connections growing distant, like stars hidden by a soft mist. The divine essence began to withdraw, pulling their strong, gentle shadows back up to the mountain peak. The world was slowly becoming the domain of mortals. The older gods, the primordials, were now just the deepest, softest background of existence. Chaos and Tartarus were merely names for the quiet void. The Titans remained in their gentle, silent exile, their power a deep, heavy memory in the earth. And the Olympians themselves began to change. Hestia, the quiet goddess of the hearth, gave up her seat on the council, choosing to dwell gently among the humans, keeping the soft flame of home and family burning in every city, ensuring that a small piece of the divine remained accessible to all. Demeter and Persephone continued their gentle, rhythmic dance of the seasons, their connection a quiet reminder of nature's eternal cycle of life and rest. The gentle wisdom of Athena remained in the minds of philosophers and the hands of skilled artisans. The soft, gentle power of Zeus became the deep, distant roar of the storm, a force of nature, rather than a father on a throne. The divine family tree, once vibrant and deeply rooted in the heart of the world, began its final, gentle, slow shedding of leaves. The age of myth was softly, quietly ending, giving way to history, to the fleeting, beautiful, fragile lives of men. The stories, however, remained, whispered from one generation to the next, like soft, gentle dreams passed between sleeping minds. The quiet journeys and the fatting voices as the great families of the heroes scattered, their stories became less about divine intervention and more about human endurance, though the gentle shadows of Olympus still stretched across their paths. These are the quiet tales of the journeys home, where the sea and the sky, ruled by the great Olympians, became the final, gentle testing grounds for mortal persistence. Let us follow the quiet, 10-year wandering of Odysseus, the resourceful king of Ithaca. His journey was a direct confrontation with the divine family. Poseidon, still deeply resentful that Odysseus had blinded his Cyclops son, Polyphemus, pursued him across the vast, lonely ocean. Every wave, every storm, was a soft, formidable expression of the sea god's quiet rage. Odysseus's endurance, his deep, gentle longing for home and his wife Penelope, a figure of quiet, unshakable fidelity, became the central theme. He was aided by Athena, the gentle goddess of strategy, who often appeared to him in soft disguise, whispering advice into his dreams, a quiet sign that the gods, even in retreat, still favored those with wisdom and wit. His story illustrates the final stage of the mythic age. The gods no longer march on earth, but their influence remains in the currents of fate and the soft counsel of the wise. The line of the oracles and prophecy. The fatting of the gods' direct presence did not mean their complete silence. Their voices continued to speak, but now through the hushed chambers of prophecy and the gentle wisdom of oracles. The greatest of these was the oracle at Delphi, sacred to Apollo, the gentle sun god of prophecy and light. The priestesses, known as the Pythia, would sit on a soft tripod over a chasm, and the quiet words of Apollo would flow through them. This oracle became the gentle nexus between the divine family and the mortal world, guiding kings, heroes, and common folk alike with cryptic, soft advice. We also find the persistent, quiet lineage of the seer Tiresias, a blind prophet from Thebes whose life spanned 7 generations. Tiresias was granted his prophetic sight by the gods, a direct and gentle gift. His very existence was a quiet reminder that the divine perspective, the knowledge of the full family tree, the past and the future, still resided among men, offering guidance when the path grew dark. His pronouncements, always soft but certain, revealed the deep, subtle connections between all the tragic families of the heroic age. The soft cycle of nature. Demeter and Dionysus, as the age moved on, the most deeply felt connections between gods and mortals were those tied to the earth, the cycles of life, and the quiet joys of existence. Demeter, the goddess of the harvest, and her gentle, sorrowful cycle with her daughter Persephone remained an essential pillar of the world. Her grief, the gentle cause of winter, and her joy, the soft return of spring, were no longer just a family drama but the very breath of the seasons, a cosmic rhythm that every farmer and every soul could quietly feel and understand. And Dionysus, the quiet god born of fire and mortal woman, flourished as the god of gentle transformation. His followers, moving in soft, ecstatic frenzy, found a direct, personal connection to the divine that was often missing from the solemn, distant rituals dedicated to Zeus. Dionysus's family line, the one born of a mortal, was the one that offered the most immediate, visceral link to the ancient, wild nature of the gods. He represented the quiet, gentle dissolution of the boundaries between the human and the divine. The worship of these gods, Demeter's Eleusinian mysteries, and the gentle rites of Dionysus were not about war or thrones, but about the quiet promise of life after death, the soft continuity of the soul, and the gentle intoxication of being alive. They kept the memory of the Olympian family softly burning in the hearts of the common people, long after the great kings had fallen silent, the final sleep of the old gods. And so, the quiet family of the Greek pantheon slowly, gently, receded into the atmosphere. The thunderbolts of Zeus became less frequent. The soft laughter of Aphrodite was heard less often on the shores. The gentle, metallic sound of Hephaestus's hammer grew distant. They were not gone, only quietly dormant, folded into the natural world. The stories themselves became the final, gentle connection. The lineage, stretching from the great gulf of chaos down through the Titans, the Olympians, and finally merging into the beautiful, fleeting lives of Heracles and Achilles, became a soft, complete tapestry. The family tree of Greek mythology, dear listener, is not a simple chart of names, but a quiet, rhythmic pattern of creation and destruction, of love and sorrow, of divine might and gentle human frailty. It is the story of how everything came to be: the earth, the sea, the sky, the laws of nature, and the gentle, deep impulse of destiny that guides us all. The quiet continuance, lesser deities and extended families, you are quite right, dear listener. The great tree of myth is so vast, its branches extend into the deepest reaches of the night. Though the main narrative of the Olympians and heroes has settled, the gentle world they created is still populated by countless lesser deities, nymphs, satyrs, and spirits, each one a quiet footnote in the grand family history. We must not let their soft whispers go unheard. The vast realm of Poseidon, for instance, is home to an enormous, quiet family. Beyond his queen, Amphitrite, and his son, Triton, he fathered legions of sea spirits. There are the Nereids, the 50 beautiful, gentle daughters of the sea elder Nereus and the Oceanid Doris. These nymphs are the very essence of the calm, soft sea surface. The most famous, of course, is Thetis, the mother of the hero Achilles, whose gentle intervention on Olympus often swayed the king of the gods himself. And within the fresh waters that flow across the great body of Gaia, there are the Oceanids, the 3,000 daughters of the Titan Oceanus and Tethys. These are the nymphs of rivers, springs, and wells, soft, flowing extensions of the Titan's watery realm. Each stream that murmurs in the dark, each quiet spring, is a daughter of this ancient couple, a gentle reminder of the Titan's enduring legacy. The silent spirits of the earth herself, Gaia, is teeming with her own quiet, gentle progeny. There are the dryads, the soft, gentle spirits of the trees, bound to their woody homes. When a tree falls, the dryad weeps and fades with it, a perfect, quiet harmony between life and wood. They are a family of silent observers, guardians of the deep, gentle forests. In the mountains, we find the Oreads, the beautiful, shy mountain nymphs. They watch over the high, rocky peaks and quiet caves, their footsteps as soft as moss. They were often companions to Artemis, the gentle hunter, sharing her quiet love for the untamed wilderness. And from the earth, too, came the wilder, more primal spirits, the satyrs, led by the wise and gentle old Silenus. These goat-legged companions of Dionysus embody the quiet, rustic freedom of the forests, their pipes playing soft, sleepy melodies that drift through the night air. They are the playful, gentle shadows of the wild. These countless, quiet kin are the true connective tissue of the mythology. They are the grand nieces, the second cousins, the gentle attendants who bridge the gap between the colossal power of the Olympians and the fragile beauty of the mortal world. Echoes of Olympus and the stars, even the stars, dear listener, are part of this celestial family. The gods often placed those they loved, or those who suffered greatly, among the quiet constellations as a gentle, eternal memory. We mentioned Castor and Pollux, the twin sons of Zeus and Leda. When Castor, the mortal twin, fell, Pollux, the immortal twin, grieved so deeply that Zeus, in a soft act of pity and fatherly love, allowed them to share immortality, spending alternating days in the underworld and on Olympus. Now, they shine together in the quiet night sky as the constellation Gemini, a gentle symbol of brotherly devotion and shared destiny. There is also Callisto, a nymph who served Artemis. She was loved by Zeus and bore a son, Arcas. To protect her from Hera's gentle, slow vengeance, or simply as a kind fate, Zeus transformed Callisto into the great bear Ursa Major and Arcas into the little bear Ursa Minor, forever circling the soft, quiet North Pole. They are a mother and son reunited in the stillness of the cosmos, a gentle, silent family portrait painted in starlight. These soft, shimmering constellations remind us that the family tree is not only rooted in the earth and crowned on Olympus, but its leaves are scattered across the very universe, whispering their stories in the quiet, endless dark. So, breathe deep, dear listener, and feel the immense, gentle weight of this vast, sprawling cosmic family settling around you, pulling you deeper into a peaceful rest. The silent citizens of the underworld now, let us descend gently beneath the roots of the earth, into the vast, silent kingdom ruled by Hades and his queen, Persephone. Even this realm of deep shadows and quiet stillness is part of the divine family structure, filled with its own unique, soft inhabitants. Hades, though often feared, was a necessary brother, maintaining the gentle, crucial balance of the cosmos. His world is not empty. It is populated by the shades of the departed and governed by quiet, ancient laws. The first member of the underworld family we encounter is Charon, the gentle ferryman. He is not a god, nor a titan, but an old, quiet spirit whose duty is to ferry the souls across the soft, dark waters of the river Styx and its accompanying rivers of sorrow. His payment, a simple coin placed beneath the tongue of the deceased, is the gentle toll for passage into the land of eternal silence. The judges and the rivers of memory beyond the rivers, Hades' justice is upheld by the three judges of the dead, Minos, Rhadamanthus, and Aeacus. These were once wise and gentle mortal kings, famed for their quiet fairness and adherence to the law. So revered were they that upon their deaths, they were elevated to positions of eternal, impartial judgment within the underworld. They represent the ultimate, gentle authority of divine justice, determining where each soul will find its quiet resting place. The very landscape of the underworld is woven from family connections. There are the 5 great rivers, each one a soft, flowing current of emotion and memory. Black the Acheron, the river of woe, the first border. Black the Cocytus, the river of lamentation, a current of quiet sorrow. Black the Phlegethon, the river of fire, a gentle, slow current of heat and passion. Black the Lethe, the river of forgetfulness, whose soft waters erase the mortal memories of those who drink from it, preparing them for their eternal rest. Black and the Styx, the most important, whose name means hateful but whose presence is one of deep, solemn importance. The Styx is more than a river. She is a powerful, ancient Oceanid, a daughter of Oceanus and Tethys, who was so loyal to Zeus during the Titanomachy that the gods now swear their most sacred, unbreakable oaths by her gentle, quiet waters. A promise sworn on the Styx is a promise sworn on the oldest family bloodline, the kin of night and vengeance. We must also softly acknowledge the enduring children of Nyx, the ancient night, who dwell in the quiet depths beneath the earth, their power often surpassing that of the Olympians. They are the quiet embodiment of cosmic truth and unavoidable consequence. From Nyx came the Erinyes, or Furies, the 3 terrifying but necessary goddesses of vengeance. Their names whisper of relentless, quiet pursuit. They rise to punish those who shed family blood, those who violate the gentle sanctity of kin. They are a dark, deep expression of the consequences of breaking the oldest, most sacred family bonds. Also from the night came Thanatos, death, and his twin brother Hypnos, sleep. Hypnos is the gentle, soft-winged god of sleep, who brings quiet repose to all mortal and immortal alike. His touch is a soft blanket, his kingdom a place of deep, silent rest. And Thanatos, his twin, is the gentle, quiet presence of nonviolent death, who gently claims souls when their time is complete. These two brothers are the ultimate proof that the quiet comfort of sleep and the finality of death are inseparable members of the family of night. These beings, the Furies, sleep, death, the river Styx, form the quiet, deep counterpoint to the bright, tempestuous world of Olympus. They are the ancient kin who ensure that fate, memory, and consequence run their gentle course, keeping the vast family structure of the cosmos in a state of quiet, necessary balance. Their story ends not with a crash, but with a deep, pervasive quiet. The old gods have simply laid down their heavy crowns, closing their eyes on the world of men, and gently drifting into the memory of the stars, the quiet kinship of the winds, and whether we must now turn our soft attention to the sky, dear listener, the great domain of Zeus. While he controls the thunderbolt, the very air is moved by others, lesser deities who are quietly woven into the fabric of the celestial family. These are the forces that bring gentle breezes and mighty storms alike. These are the children of the Titans, the ancient grandchildren of Gaia and Uranus, whose importance endures even after their parents fall. The four principal winds, known as the Anem, are significant figures in the daily life of the world. They are the sons of the Titan Astrius, god of the stars, and Eos, the dawn, making them the brothers of the stars themselves, a beautiful, gentle connection between the atmosphere and the cosmos. Black there is Boreas, the fierce, quiet north wind, whose breath brings the cold, still air of winter. Black Notus is the soft, gentle south wind, who carries the quiet mists and warmth of summer. Black Zephyrus is the mildest of the four, the gentle west wind, often associated with soft breezes, spring, and the quiet ushering in of growth. He is the quiet messenger of flowers and renewal. Black and Eurus is the moody, quiet east wind, whose nature is often unpredictable and less defined, blowing in from the distant horizon. These quiet, unseen forces are part of the extended family of weather, obeying the commands of Zeus, yet possessing their own personalities and power. They are the breath of the world, gently guiding ships and shaping the soft clouds that drift over Mount Olympus. The Hesperides and the Garden of Soft Light now, let us journey far to the quiet, western edge of the world, where the sun sets and the light fades into soft evening. Here resides a most enchanting part of the extended family, the Hesperides. These nymphs are the gentle guardians of the beautiful, secret garden where Hera keeps her quiet treasures. They are the daughters of the Titan Atlas, the colossal, gentle figure condemned by Zeus to hold the sky upon his shoulders, and often the daughters of the goddess of the evening, Hesperus. The Hesperides, whose names whisper of soft light and golden beauty, are not fierce, but their duty is solemn. They protect the tree that bears the golden apples, a wedding gift to Hera from Gaia. This quiet act of family love, a gift from the grandmother of the gods to her granddaughter, is guarded by this soft, gentle line of nymphs, and ultimately by the dragon Ladon. Their garden is a place of deep, soft stillness, a gentle reminder that even the most beautiful and distant treasures of the world are tied back to the fundamental family relationships. Gaia's gift, Atlas's sorrowful burden, and the gentle watchfulness of the quiet Hesperides. The fatting echoes of prophecy, Cassandra and Laocoon, as the direct family interaction faded, the final connections often came in the form of ignored gifts or curses, the ultimate tragedy of the mortal line. Consider the story of Cassandra, a princess of Troy, and a daughter of a king directly descended from Zeus's lines. She was granted the gentle, powerful gift of prophecy by Apollo, who loved her. When she quietly rejected his affection, Apollo, in a soft moment of divine pique, could not take the gift back. Instead, he simply added a quiet curse. She would always speak the truth, but no one would ever believe her. Her story is one of the deepest sorrows of the Age of Heroes. She was a gentle voice of truth, a direct line to the foresight of the gods, yet her warnings about the Trojan horse, about the gentle downfall of her own family, were dismissed as the ravings of madness. She was abandoned by her divine kin, her gift turned into an instrument of quiet torture. And alongside her stands Laocoon, a Trojan priest who dared to warn his people against the deceptive kindness of the Greeks. He was crushed in the coils of giant serpents sent by Poseidon or Athena, depending on the gentle version of the tale. The crushing of the truth speaker became the final, quiet sign that the gods had closed the book on Troy's fate, regardless of their mortal children's warnings. These final, sorrowful figures are the gentle, melancholic footnotes in the family history, a quiet testimony to the final separation, where the gods' communication became ambiguous, the truth unwelcome, and the mortals were left to drift alone into the dawning age of man. The quiet gifts of Olympus, craft, wisdom, and harmony we have journeyed through the creation, through the rise and fall of the great generations, and through the bloody, beautiful lives of the heroes. Now, dear listener, we must turn our gentle attention to the subtle, enduring inheritance the Olympian family left humanity, the quiet gifts that shaped civilization, the skills, the arts, and the gentle wisdom that became the true, final legacy of the gods. These gifts are rooted in the direct progeny of Zeus and Hera, flowing down to us as the very foundations of culture. Let us begin with the quiet realm of the forge, the domain of Hephaestus. Though often portrayed as the solitary, gentle craftsman, his lineage and his quiet, enduring labor are central to the very idea of progress. Hephaestus, the son of Hera, and sometimes Zeus, the god of fire, metalworking, and craftsmanship, was perhaps the most intimately connected Olympian to the quiet, daily labor of man. His connection to the family is one of contrast. He was the god of beautiful, fiery creation, yet his gentle, slight limp and his eventual marriage to the dazzling Aphrodite highlighted the imperfections and perfect harmonies found even on Olympus. From his smoking, quiet forges, often beneath the great, soft volcanoes, came every intricate item that held the world together. He crafted the thunderbolts for his father, Zeus, the mighty shield, the aegis, for Athena, and the soft, intricate armor worn by the heroes of the Trojan War. His children, though not always as famous as the heroes, were the quiet founders of the practical arts. They were the masters of metalwork, the gentle sculptors, and the patient architects who raised the first great temples to the gods. One notable son was Erechtheus, a quiet, early king of Athens, who was said to be both an earth-born figure and a favorite of Hephaestus. This subtle lineage granted the people of Athens their skill in metal and their dedication to fine craftsmanship, a direct, gentle gift from the smith god to his mortal kin, establishing a quiet tradition of excellence that would endure through the ages. The slow, rhythmic strike of the hammer, the gentle roar of the bellows, and the quiet shaping of raw earth into tools, these are the gifts of Hephaestus, the essence of patience and transformation. The quiet art of craftsmanship found its perfect complement in the gentle, brilliant wisdom of Athena, the fierce, favored daughter of Zeus, who sprang, fully formed, from his head. Her kinship is entirely one of intellect and strategy, wisdom, and the gentle, careful application of skill. She is the goddess of weaving, the quiet, precise art of turning soft thread into complex, beautiful fabric. She taught humanity how to domesticate the horse and the gentle arts of sailing, bringing order and connection to the wild world. The quiet, gentle rivalry between Athena and Hephaestus over the patronage of Athens is itself a beautiful family story. Their competition was not one of violence, but of soft, creative gifts. Hephaestus offered the skill of the forge. Athena offered the olive tree, the gift of sustainable life, food, and light. Athena's offering, a symbol of gentle peace and enduring civilization, won the quiet vote of the people, cementing her position as the patron of the city. The children and favorites of Athena were not muscular heroes, but quiet, brilliant minds. They were the gentle tacticians, the architects who perfected the column, and the scholars who organized human knowledge. They bore her mark of thoughtful patience and strategic excellence. The beautiful, quiet symmetry of the Parthenon, the temple dedicated to her, stands as the ultimate, gentle testament to her lineage, a perfect marriage of Hephaestus's craft and Athena's calculated beauty. She is the quiet voice of reason, the gentle strategy that prevents chaos, ensuring that the human family can build and thrive. The gentle harmony of Apollo's lineage as the soft, silvery light of the forge and the gray, thoughtful light of wisdom fade, we turn to the golden, gentle brilliance of Apollo, the son of Zeus and Leto, the twin brother of Artemis. Apollo's lineage is one of soft harmony, prophecy, healing, and music, the arts that soothe the spirit and grant gentle insight. Apollo is the god of the Muses, the 9 gentle, soft-voiced patrons of all arts, whom he often led and inspired. Though the Muses were the daughters of Zeus and Mnemosyne memory, it was Apollo who guided their harmony, ensuring that all poetry, history, dance, and song flowed with gentle grace. His quiet, golden lyre, a gift from his half-brother Hermes, played the gentle music that governed the cosmos, bringing order and beauty where chaos might reign. His descendants and favorites are the great healers and musicians, the quiet, gentle souls who eased suffering and brought joy. The most famous of his sons is Asclepius, the quiet god of medicine. Asclepius was taught the arts of gentle healing by the wise centaur Chiron, who himself was the gentle, kind son of the Titan Cronus. Asclepius's skill was so profound, so soft, that he began to bring the dead back to life, crossing the ultimate boundary set by the divine family. This gentle disruption was too much for the cosmic order. Hades protested to Zeus that the quiet realm of the dead was being emptied. Zeus, in a soft, ultimate act of maintaining balance, reluctantly struck Asclepius down with a thunderbolt. But even this tragic, gentle end did not silence the line of healing. Asclepius was deified, becoming a gentle protector of medicine, and his lineage continued through his daughters and sons, who became the quiet foundation of all medical practice. Hygeia, the goddess of gentle health and cleanliness, and Panacea, the goddess of universal remedy, carry on his gentle, quiet work. The snake-entwined staff of Asclepius remains a powerful, soft symbol of healing to this day, a permanent gift from Apollo's line to the human family. The second great lineage of Apollo is the oracles and the power of quiet prophecy. His greatest sanctuary, the oracle at Delphi, became the gentle nexus of the world. The Pythia, the priestess who spoke Apollo's soft, cryptic truths, was the voice of the divine family's enduring knowledge. Kings and commoners traveled vast distances to hear her quiet, gentle counsel, seeking a glimpse of the future woven by the fates. This gift was not always gentle, as seen in the tragedy of Cassandra, but it was an essential gift. The quiet, gentle guidance needed by a human world struggling to find its footing after the gods' retreat. Apollo, through his oracle, became the ultimate guide, ensuring that human decisions were made with the knowledge of the past and the gentle consideration of the future. The fading light and the enduring arts as the great, heroic quests concluded, and the gods retired to their gentle contemplation on Olympus. It was these quiet arts, the gentle skill of the forge, the careful pattern of the loom, the soft rhythm of music, and the quiet wisdom of the oracle, that remained the deepest, most permanent testament to the Olympian family's impact. The family tree, dear listener, did not end with the death of the last hero. It simply changed its form, becoming the very blueprint of human civilization. The blood of Zeus and Hera became the skill in our hands, the thought in our minds, and the harmony in our hearts. Feel the soft, cool metal of a tool, and you touch the gentle legacy of Hephaestus. Watch the quiet, patient construction of a beautiful form, and you see the strategy of Athena. Hear a piece of music that settles your soul, and you feel the gentle touch of Apollo. The vast, slow, continuous story of the Greek mythological family tree is complete not just in its end, but in its continuous transformation. It flows now, not as epic battle, but as the quiet, gentle river of history, carrying the indelible, soft influence of the gods into every corner of the human world. They rest, they are quiet, but their gifts, their kin, and their gentle guidance remain with us in the soft, enduring fabric of our lives. The enduring kinship of the Titans, the line of Iapetus, and the gentle struggle of humanity we must now, dear listener, return to the solemn, ancient family line of the Titans, who remain silently bound beneath the earth, but whose children walk among us, their influence a quiet, fundamental law of existence. Focus your gentle attention on the Titan Iapetus, the brother of Cronus, whose lineage is perhaps the most significant to the human race. Iapetus, whose name whispers of mortality, quietly fathered 4 sons who stand as eternal pillars between the divine and the fleeting human world. First, there is Atlas, the mighty, sorrowful figure condemned by Zeus to stand at the edge of the world, gently holding the vast, star-spun sky upon his shoulders. Atlas's punishment was not merely physical. It was a profound, quiet separation from his divine kin and the soft earth. His fate is a constant, gentle reminder of the weight of responsibility and the price of challenging the Olympian order. Yet, from this immense burden, a beautiful family line bloomed. Atlas married the Oceanid Pleione, or sometimes Clymene or Asia, and their union brought forth a gentle, celestial family. The Pleiades, 7 soft, starry sisters whom we see clustered in the night sky. They are Alcyone, Seleno, Electra, Maia, mother of Hermes by Zeus, Merope, Sterope, and Tagete. These gentle nymphs, placed among the stars, are an eternal reminder of the sorrowful beauty of Atlas's lineage. Their light a quiet, beautiful tear shed over the world he supports. They are the soft daughters of burden and beauty, perpetually watching over the earth from their celestial home. Atlas was also the father of the gentle nymph Calypso, who dwelt alone on the soft, distant island of Aegea, and whose fate was to quietly hold the hero Odysseus captive for 7 long, gentle years. Her sorrowful love another small ripple of the Titan's lonely power affecting the mortal world. His kin, therefore, represent the deep, quiet separation between the vast cosmos and the human heart. Next in the line of Iapetus is Prometheus, whose name means forethought or planning. Prometheus, with his gentle wisdom, was the great champion of humanity. He was not against the Olympians, but his loyalty lay with the frail, struggling mortal race that he, in many accounts, helped to quietly fashion from soft clay. He defied Zeus twice, in soft but profound acts of rebellion rooted in compassion for his fragile mortal kin. First, Prometheus gently tricked Zeus during the division of a sacrificial bull, ensuring that the gods received only the bones wrapped in shining fat, while mortals received the usable meat for sustenance. This act, though gentle, established the practice of sacrifice and gave mortals a necessary advantage. Zeus, in quiet, understandable anger, withdrew fire from humanity, plunging them into cold, dark despair. Prometheus, in his ultimate act of gentle, quiet sacrifice, then stole fire back from Mount Olympus, snatching a glowing ember from the forge of Hephaestus or the chariot of the sun, and brought it down to earth hidden in a hollow fennel stalk. This gift of fire was not merely warmth, it was the spark of civilization, the gentle light of craft, technology, and knowledge. For this transgression against the divine family's ruling father, Prometheus was condemned to an eternal, quiet torment, chained to a high, sorrowful peak in the Caucasus Mountains, where the great, gentle eagle, the emblem of Zeus, would come each day to quietly consume his liver, which would regenerate each night. His quiet suffering was a public, gentle warning of the price of defiance, yet his endurance was the ultimate, soft proof of his eternal devotion to humanity, his kin by creation. His eventual, gentle release by the mighty hero Heracles, another son of Zeus, became a profound symbol of reconciliation, where the old rebellion of the Titans was finally, softly forgiven by the next generation of the divine family. The lineage continues through Prometheus's brother Epimetheus, Afterthought, the gentle, less wise sibling who accepted Pandora, the beautiful first woman, a gentle creation of the gods, as a gift. Pandora, bearing the gentle jar, or box, filled with all the world's quiet sorrows, plagues, and pains, represents the tragic, beautiful flaw in humanity's beginnings, a quiet price paid for Prometheus's fiery gift. And from Prometheus's son, Deucalion, and his cousin, Pyrrha, the daughter of Pandora and Epimetheus, came the final, gentle rebirth of the mortal world after the great, cleansing flood sent by Zeus. They alone survived the waters, and by tossing the gentle bones of their mother, Gaia rocks, behind them, they quietly repopulated the earth with the newest, hardest, most enduring generation of humanity. The line of Iapetus, therefore, is not merely a side branch. It is the deep, quiet, sorrowful root of the entire mortal world. The quiet spirits of abstraction, personifications and demons, the family tree extends beyond flesh and stone, dear listener. Deepest, most enduring family members are the quiet, soft-spoken spirits of abstract concepts, the demons, whose kinship is tied not to birth but to existence itself. These are the soft children of Nyx night, Erebus darkness, and Eris strife, and they govern the gentle laws of human emotion and societal order. Let us softly consider the daughters of Zeus and Themis, divine law, the quiet but powerful Horii, hours or seasons, Eunomia, order, Dike, justice, and Irene, peace. They are the gentle administrators of natural and moral order, ensuring the soft, rhythmic unfolding of life. When these sisters hold sway, the world is one of quiet, gentle harmony. Alongside them stand the Charites, Graces, Aglaia, Splendor, Euphrosyne, Mirth, and Thalia, Good Cheer, the soft, gentle daughters of Zeus and the Oceanid Eurynome. These goddesses embody the beauty and charm of social interaction, always seen moving together in a soft, gentle circle, representing the give and take of generosity and art. They are the gentle essence of festivity and grace, adorning the lives of the Olympians and mortals alike. But the family of Nyx, the ancient night, governs the more difficult, quiet truths. From her deep shadows came Black Nemesis, the quiet spirit of retribution and divine balance, who gently but surely measures out fate to those who suffer from hubris, overweening pride. She is the quiet, necessary force that keeps even the gentle sons of Zeus humble. Black Hecate, the enigmatic goddess of magic, witchcraft, the moon, and the quiet crossroads. She is often seen with 3 bodies or 3 heads, presiding over the thresholds of worlds, a gentle, powerful link between the earth, the sky, and the underworld. Her lineage a constant reminder of the primal power that exists outside the Olympian structure. Black Eris, the goddess of gentle strife and discord, whose casual, quiet throwing of the golden apple at the wedding of Peleus and Thetis, inscribed for the fairest, ignited the entirety of the Trojan War. Her simple, soft presence proved that chaos could spring from the smallest, gentlest seed of jealousy. And from Ares and Aphrodite, the gentle union of war and love, sprang other soft, necessary emotions. Phobos, panic; Deimos, fear; and Harmonia, harmony. The goddess who later married Cadmus and whose tragic necklace became the cursed inheritance of the Theban royal line. These quiet, abstract siblings, fear, joy, justice, strife, are the true, enduring kin of the gods. They dwell not on Mount Olympus, but in the soft, complex chambers of the human heart, where the gentle blood of the gods still flows as emotion, intellect, and memory. The continuous presence of these abstract deities ensures that the vast, sprawling family of Greek mythology remains relevant, not as a history of battles, but as the quiet, eternal story of the human condition itself. The soft, slow cycle of the seasons, the quiet labor of the craftsman, the deep sorrow of the betrayed, the gentle joy of creation. All these are the final, living members of the family, gently carrying the ancient bloodline of chaos and Gaia into the long, slow, endless dream of time. The quiet kingdom of sleep and the gentle family of dreams let us now, dear listener, drift further into the quiet shadows, away from the turmoil of the earth and the loud, golden halls of Olympus, and into the soft, deep realm of Hypnos, the gentle god of sleep, the twin brother of Thanatos, death. This quiet kingdom, often said to reside near the realm of Hades, or in a deep cave where the sun never shines and the river Lethe, forgetfulness, flows nearby, is an essential, gentle part of the divine family's enduring structure. Hypnos, the son of the primordial Nyx, night, embodies the softest, most pervasive form of divine influence upon the mortal world. His power is a gentle, velvet blanket that can soothe the sorrow of heroes, quiet the rage of gods, and bring soft, temporary peace to the perpetually struggling human soul. It was he who, at the gentle request of Hera, could even lull Zeus himself into a deep slumber, allowing the goddess to enact her own quiet plans during the Trojan War, a subtle testament to the soft power of rest that can overcome even the king of the gods. Hypnos's kin are the Waniroi, the gentle, quiet family of dreams. These are his sons, the soft, winged spirits who emerge from the cave of sleep to deliver messages to mortals in the dark. Black Morpheus, the eldest and most skilled, is the gentle shaper of the dreamscape. He specializes in appearing to mortals in the exact form of human beings, replicating their soft features, their movements, and their voices. He ensures that dreams about people are vivid, believable, and personal, a profound, quiet messenger of the unconscious mind. Black Phobder, or Iceless, whose name whispers of fear, is the gentle master of nightmares involving beasts and monsters. He shapes the soft figures of animals and dangerous creatures, ensuring that the subconscious mind is tested, the gentle terror serving as a form of catharsis or warning. Black Phantasos, the last of the chief sons, is the gentle architect of the illusory, the soft landscapes of fantasy. He forms inanimate objects, the strange, shifting background of dreams, the quiet, impossible buildings and surreal environments that lack the logic of the waking world. These quiet, gentle sons of Hypnos ensure that the night is never truly empty. They continue the work of the gods in the human mind, offering guidance, warning, or simply a deep, soft respite from the world's endless toil. The dreams they weave are the final, gentle words whispered from the mythological age to the age of man, a continuous, quiet conversation between the divine family and their sleeping descendants. The slow, rhythmic flow of the river Lethe ensures that even the darkest nightmares soften and fade upon waking, leaving only the quiet, gentle memory of a thought. The fatting sea lords and the gentle nymphs of the deep as the Olympians retreated. The vast, blue kingdom of the sea, the gentle domain of Poseidon, also quieted, its deeper family members taking on a gentler, more localized significance. Amphitrite, Poseidon's queen, a beautiful, gentle Nereid herself, remains enthroned, but the true keepers of the waves and the hidden depths are her endless, soft kin. We have spoken of the Nereids, the 50 soft, gentle daughters of Nereus, the old man of the sea, and Doris, and Oceanid. These nymphs are the very personification of the quiet, calm beauty of the sea's surface. They were often companions to sailors, offering gentle assistance to those in distress and celebrating quietly in the soft, distant harbors. Their quiet sisterhood is one of the most enduring symbols of water's life-giving grace. But beneath them dwell the older, more mysterious family of the sea, the children of Pontus, the primordial sea, and Gaia Earth. Their lineage is primal, a quiet echo of the raw, untamed forces that existed before Poseidon's trident brought order. Black from this primordial union came Phorcys and Seta, the gentle, ancient sea deities whose children were the terrible monsters of the sea. The Gorgons, including the sorrowful Medusa, whose gaze turned men to stone. The Gree, the three ancient, quiet sisters who shared a single eye and a single tooth. And the dragon Ladon. These creatures are the quiet, dark cousins of the Olympians, embodying the deep, ancient dangers of the sea that Poseidon worked to contain. Black, their cousin, Thaumas, Wonder, married Electra and Oceanid, and their daughter was the gentle, soft-winged Iris, the goddess of the rainbow. Iris is the gentle messenger of the gods, spanning the vast distance between Olympus and the earth on soft, colorful wings. Her very existence is a quiet, beautiful connection between the vast, wet sea and the high, luminous sky, ensuring that communication flows gently between all levels of the divine family. The gentle, subtle presence of these sea-kin ensures that the oceans remain an unpredictable yet essential part of the world. Even as the age of man grew, the soft songs of the Nereids and the quiet warnings whispered by the deeper sea-kin continued to shape the destinies of sailors and the geography of the silent world. Their large, quiet family reminds us that the vastness of the earth is matched only by the deep, flowing history of its divine inhabitants. The gentle legacy of the fates and the enduring law finally, dear listener, as our journey nears its gentle, necessary close, we must acknowledge the three sisters whose power outlasts all others. The Moirai, or the Fates. They are the quiet, stern administrators of destiny, whose lineage stretches back to the primordial Nyx, Night, or sometimes to the law-giving Themis and Zeus himself. Their gentle, soft-spoken power is absolute. Even the Olympians cannot truly defy the pattern they weave. The three sisters are 1. Clotho, the spinner, who gently draws the thread of life from her soft distaff, marking the moment of birth and the fundamental nature of the life to come. 2. Lachesis, the measurer, who quietly and impartially measures the thread with her soft rod, determining the precise length and the gentle scope of the deeds a mortal will perform. 3. Atropos, the unturnable, the eldest and most severe, who cuts the thread with her soft shears, ending the life and confirming the inevitable moment of death. They are the highest, most ancient authority in the divine family structure, the quiet proof that everything, from the rise of chaos to the fatting of the last hero, is part of a grand, preordained, soft pattern. They do not judge, they merely execute the quiet law of existence. With the gentle acknowledgement of their ceaseless, quiet work, the magnificent, sprawling family tree of Greek mythology is truly complete. It is a story not just of gods on a mountain, but of every quiet whisper of the wind, every soft drop of rain, every dream, every gentle joy, and every profound sorrow that touches the human heart. The deep lineage of sorrow. The quiet tragedies of Thebes let us now focus our gentle attention, dear listener, on the great, sorrowful family dramas that unfolded not on Olympus, but on the mortal earth, centered around the city of Thebes. Thebes' very foundation is woven with divine intervention and quiet, persistent tragedy, making its royal family one of the most cursed and consequential lineages in all of mythology. The city was founded by Cadmus, a Phoenician prince. His quest was a gentle, humble one, to find his sister, Europa, who had been quietly abducted by Zeus disguised as a beautiful white bull too. When Cadmus consulted the oracle at Delphi, he was given a new, unexpected command by Apollo. Abandon the search and instead follow a solitary cow until it rested 3 where the cow lay down. He was to found a city. This cow led Cadmus to a quiet, fertile spot in Boeotia to found his city. He needed to make a gentle sacrifice to Athena, requiring water from a nearby spring. This spring, however, was guarded by a ferocious, colossal serpent, a child of Ares. The god of war. Cadmus slayed the serpent in a fierce, sorrowful battle. Following Athena's quiet instructions, he sewed the serpent's teeth into the ground. 6 from the earth, fully armed, quiet warriors, the Spartae, sewn men, sprang up and immediately began fighting each other. Only 5 survived, and with these 5 quiet, gentle men, Cadmus founded the citadel of Thebes. To atone for killing Ares' sacred serpent, Cadmus served the war god for 8 long, gentle years. 7 at the end of his service. The divine family granted him Harmonia, the daughter of Ares and Aphrodite, war and love, as his bride. Their quiet, majestic wedding was attended by all the Olympians, who brought gifts, including the famous, cursed necklace and robe, gentle tokens of affection that would later bring endless sorrow to the family line. The quiet tragedy of Thebes began with their divine descendants. Cadmus and Harmonia's daughter, Semele, was loved by Zeus. 8 when the jealous Hera tricked the mortal Semele into asking Zeus to reveal himself in his true, divine glory. The resulting flash of fire killed her. For no mortal can gaze upon a god unharmed. 9 Zeus, however, gently rescued the unborn child and sewed the infant god, Dionysus, into his thigh, making him the only Olympian to be twice born, a god with a mortal mother. Eternally connecting Thebes to the highest pinnacle of Olympus. 10, the greatest sorrow, however, came with the quiet, tragic family of Oedipus, the descendant of Cadmus. A prophecy warned Oedipus's parents, King Laius and Queen Jocasta, that their son would grow up to murder his father and marry his mother, 11, in a soft, desperate attempt to defy fate. They had the infant Oedipus abandoned on a mountainside. 12 Oedipus survived and grew up believing he was the son of the king of Corinth. When he heard the same dreadful prophecy, he fled Corinth, desperately trying to avoid his supposed parents. On the road to Thebes, in a small, quiet act of road rage, he unknowingly killed his biological father, Laius. He arrived in Thebes to find the city gripped by fear, held hostage by the monstrous Sphinx, a child of Typhon and Echidna, who posed a quiet riddle to every traveler and devoured those who failed. 13 Oedipus, using the gentle, keen wisdom inherited from his divine lineage, solved the riddle. The Sphinx, in shame, cast herself from a cliff, and the grateful Thebans hailed Oedipus as a savior, offering him the empty throne and the hand of the widowed queen Jocasta, his own mother. For years, Oedipus ruled with gentle wisdom, unaware of the quiet, dreadful horror he had enacted. The truth was finally revealed when a plague descended upon Thebes, forcing Oedipus to seek the quiet, gentle wisdom of the blind prophet Tiresias. 14 when the truth, that he was both husband to his mother and killer of his father, was violently exposed. Jocasta took her own life, and Oedipus, in a frenzy of quiet grief and self-punishment, blinded himself, choosing to live as a sorrowful outcast. 15 The story of Oedipus is the ultimate, gentle testament to the inescapable power of the fates, and the tragic consequences of seeking to defy the gentle, quiet laws of the cosmos. The quiet, long shadow of Troy. The family feud and divine intervention. Now, dear listener, we turn our soft attention to the greatest family saga of the heroic age, the Trojan War, a 10-year conflict that was ultimately sparked by the Hesperides' golden apple and the casual, gentle arrogance of the gods. The direct cause of the war was the judgment of Paris. At the quiet wedding of the gentle sea nymph, the Tisan, the mortal hero Peleus, parents of Achilles, the goddess of strife, Eris, threw the golden apple inscribed for the fairest. Hera, queen; Athena, wisdom; and Aphrodite, love, all claimed it. Zeus, unwilling to choose and thus earn the endless enmity of two goddesses, sent them to the quiet, handsome Trojan prince, Paris, to judge. Each goddess offered Paris a soft, powerful bribe. Hera offered him political power over all of Asia. Athena offered him military glory and wisdom. And Aphrodite offered him the love of the most beautiful woman in the world. Helen, 17, Paris chose Aphrodite's gift. Helen, however, was already married to King Menelaus of Sparta, the brother of Agamemnon, the powerful king of. When Paris, under the gentle spell of Aphrodite, abducted Helen, or was given her, depending on the quiet version of the tale, the slight against Menelaus became a slight against the entire Greek family. The princes of Greece, the last great generation of demigods, united under the leadership of Agamemnon to retrieve the face that launched 1,000 ships, sailing across the quiet Aegean Sea to lay siege to the city of Troy. The divided Olympian family and the fate of heroes, the Trojan War was unique because the Olympian family itself was tragically divided, their quiet, gentle feuds playing out on the dusty battlefield through their mortal kin. Black pro-Greek Achaeans. The quiet, fierce support for the Greeks came from Hera, avenging Paris's slight against her beauty. Athena, avenging her loss in the judgment and favoring wise Greek heroes like Odysseus. And Poseidon, still nursing a quiet grievance against Troy's king, Laomedon, for failing to pay him for building the city walls. Black pro-Trojan. The gentle, powerful support for the Trojans came from Aphrodite, protecting Paris and her son, Aeneas. Ares, supporting the gentle cause of Troy's most capable fighter, Hector, and Apollo and Artemis. The twins often favored the pious Trojans, and Apollo in particular aided the Trojan archers and struck down Greek forces with soft, silent plagues. 19 The heroes on both sides were magnificent, yet their power was inherently tied to their divided divine lineage. Black Achilles, the gentle, greatest Greek warrior, was a demigod son of the sea nymph Thetis. His quiet rage and his eventual sorrow over the death of his gentle companion, Patroclus, drove the most intense, desperate moments of the war. His final, sorrowful fate, to be shot in his only mortal spot, his heel, by an arrow guided by Apollo, underscored the ultimate power of the gods over even the most magnificent mortal strength. Black Hector, the gentle, noble Trojan champion, was the son of King Priam and the brother of Paris 20. His deep, quiet love for his wife, Andromache, and his son, Astyanax, made him the quiet moral center of the war. His tragic, sorrowful death at the hands of Achilles, followed by Achilles' disrespectful dragging of his body around the quiet walls of Troy, was the final, devastating sign that the gods had doomed the city. The quiet, eventual victory of the Greeks was not won through strength, but through the gentle cunning of Odysseus, guided by Athena. His idea for the Trojan horse, a soft, wooden deception, was the ultimate triumph of Athena's quiet, gentle wisdom over Ares' brute force. The war's end brought not only the fall of Troy, but the beginning of the long, sorrowful journeys home for the Greek heroes, none more famous than the 10-year wandering of Odysseus. Tormented by the quiet, deep rage of Poseidon 21, the quiet echoes of Thebes and Troy are the final, complex chapter of the great divine family tree. They demonstrate that the gods did not merely father heroes. They inherited the mortal world, forcing their children to live out the consequences of their eternal jealousies, their shifting allegiances, and their gentle, relentless need to enforce the divine order. These quiet, sorrowful stories of the cursed house, the tragic prophecy, and the war fought over an apple are the enduring legends that teach humanity the true price of divine blood, the gentle, inescapable fate that binds every living soul to the ancient, quiet laws of the cosmos. The deep lineage of sorrow. The quiet tragedies of Thebes let us now focus our gentle attention, dear listener, on the great, sorrowful family dramas that unfolded not on Olympus, but on the mortal earth, centered around the city of Thebes. Thebes' very foundation is woven with divine intervention and quiet, persistent tragedy, making its royal family one of the most cursed and consequential lineages in all of mythology. The city was founded by Cadmus, a Phoenician prince. His quest was a gentle, humble one: to find his sister, Europa, who had been quietly abducted by Zeus disguised as a beautiful white bull too. When Cadmus consulted the oracle at Delphi, he was given a new, unexpected command by Apollo: abandon the search and instead follow a solitary cow until it rested 3 where the cow lay down. He was to found a city. This cow led Cadmus to a quiet, fertile spot in Boeotia 4 to found his city. He needed to make a gentle sacrifice to Athena, requiring water from a nearby spring. This spring, however, was guarded by a ferocious, colossal serpent, a child of Ares. The god of war 5 Cadmus slayed the serpent in a fierce, sorrowful battle. Following Athena's quiet instructions, he sowed the serpent's teeth into the ground 6 from the earth. Fully armed, quiet warriors, the Spartan men, sprang up and immediately began fighting each other. Only 5 survived, and with these 5 quiet, gentle men, Cadmus founded the citadel of Thebes. To atone for killing Ares' sacred serpent, Cadmus served the war god for 8 long, gentle years. 7 at the end of his service, the divine family granted him Harmonia, the daughter of Ares, and Aphrodite, war and love, as his bride. Their quiet, majestic wedding was attended by all the Olympians, who brought gifts, including the famous, cursed necklace and robe, gentle tokens of affection that would later bring endless sorrow to the family line. The quiet tragedy of Thebes began with their divine descendants. Cadmus and Harmonia's daughter, Semele, was loved by Zeus 8 when the jealous Hera tricked the mortal Semele into asking Zeus to reveal himself in his true, divine glory. The resulting flash of fire killed her. For no mortal can gaze upon a god unharmed. 9 Zeus, however, gently rescued the unborn child and sewed the infant god, Dionysus, into his thigh, making him the only Olympian to be twice born, a god with a mortal mother. Eternally connecting Thebes to the highest pinnacle of Olympus 10, the greatest sorrow, however, came with the quiet, tragic family of Oedipus, the descendant of Cadmus. A prophecy warned Oedipus's parents, King Laius and Queen Jocasta, that their son would grow up to murder his father and marry his mother, 11, in a soft, desperate attempt to defy fate. They had the infant Oedipus abandoned on a mountainside. 12 Oedipus survived and grew up believing he was the son of the king of Corinth. When he heard the same dreadful prophecy, he fled Corinth, desperately trying to avoid his supposed parents. On the road to Thebes, in a small, quiet act of road rage, he unknowingly killed his biological father, Laius. He arrived in Thebes to find the city gripped by fear, held hostage by the monstrous Sphinx, a child of Typhon and Echidna, who posed a quiet riddle to every traveler and devoured those who failed. 13 Oedipus, using the gentle, keen wisdom inherited from his divine lineage, solved the riddle. The Sphinx, in shame, cast herself from a cliff, and the grateful Thebans hailed Oedipus as a savior, offering him the empty throne and the hand of the widowed queen Jocasta, his own mother. For years, Oedipus ruled with gentle wisdom, unaware of the quiet, dreadful horror he had enacted. The truth was finally revealed when a plague descended upon Thebes, forcing Oedipus to seek the quiet, gentle wisdom of the blind prophet Tiresias. 14 When the truth, that he was both husband to his mother and killer of his father, was violently exposed, Jocasta took her own life, and Oedipus, in a frenzy of quiet grief and self-punishment, blinded himself, choosing to live as a sorrowful outcast. 15 The story of Oedipus is the ultimate, gentle testament to the inescapable power of the fates, and the tragic consequences of seeking to defy the gentle, quiet laws of the cosmos. The quiet, long shadow of Troy, the family feud and divine intervention. Now, dear listener, we turn our soft attention to the greatest family saga of the heroic age, the Trojan War, a 10-year conflict that was ultimately sparked by the Hesperides' golden apple and the casual, gentle arrogance of the gods. The direct cause of the war was the judgment of Paris. At the quiet wedding of the gentle sea nymph Thetis and the mortal hero Peleus, parents of Achilles, the goddess of strife, Eris, threw the golden apple inscribed for the fairest. Hera queen, Athena wisdom, and Aphrodite love all claimed it. Zeus, unwilling to choose and thus earn the endless enmity of two goddesses, sent them to the quiet, handsome Trojan prince Paris to judge. Each goddess offered Paris a soft, powerful bribe. Hera offered him political power over all of Asia. Athena offered him military glory and wisdom. And Aphrodite offered him the love of the most beautiful woman in the world. Helen 17 Paris chose Aphrodite's gift. Helen, however, was already married to King Menelaus of Sparta, the brother of Agamemnon, the powerful king of. When Paris, under the gentle spell of Aphrodite, abducted Helen, or was given her, depending on the quiet version of the tale, the slight against Menelaus became a slight against the entire Greek family. The princes of Greece, the last great generation of demigods, united under the leadership of Agamemnon to retrieve the face that launched 1,000 ships, sailing across the quiet Aegean Sea to lay siege to the city of Troy. The divided Olympian family and the fate of heroes, the Trojan War was unique because the Olympian family itself was tragically divided, their quiet, gentle feuds playing out on the dusty battlefield through their mortal kin. Black pro-Greek Achaeans. The quiet, fierce support for the Greeks came from Hera, avenging Paris's slight against her beauty. Athena, avenging her loss in the judgment and favoring wise Greek heroes like Odysseus. And Poseidon, still nursing a quiet grievance against Troy's king Laomedon for failing to pay him for building the city walls. Black pro-Trojan. The gentle, powerful support for the Trojans came from Aphrodite, protecting Paris and her son, Aeneas. Ares, supporting the gentle cause of Troy's most capable fighter, Hector. And Apollo and Artemis. The twins often favored the pious Trojans, and Apollo, in particular, aided the Trojan archers and struck down Greek forces with soft, silent plagues. 19 The heroes on both sides were magnificent, yet their power was inherently tied to their divided divine lineage. Black Achilles, the gentle, greatest Greek warrior, was a demigod son of the sea nymph Thetis. His quiet rage and his eventual sorrow over the death of his gentle companion, Patroclus, drove the most intense, desperate moments of the war. His final, sorrowful fate to be shot in his only mortal spot, his heel, by an arrow guided by Apollo, underscored the ultimate power of the gods over even the most magnificent mortal strength. Black Hector, the gentle, noble Trojan champion, was the son of King Priam and the brother of Paris 20. His deep, quiet love for his wife, Andromache, and his son, Astyanax, made him the quiet moral center of the war. His tragic, sorrowful death at the hands of Achilles, followed by Achilles' disrespectful dragging of his body around the quiet walls of Troy, was the final, devastating sign that the gods had doomed the city. The quiet, eventual victory of the Greeks was not won through strength, but through the gentle cunning of Odysseus, guided by Athena. His idea for the Trojan horse, a soft, wooden deception, was the ultimate triumph of Athena's quiet, gentle wisdom over Ares' brute force. The war's end brought not only the fall of Troy, but the beginning of the long, sorrowful journeys home for the Greek heroes, none more famous than the 10-year wandering of Odysseus, tormented by the quiet, deep rage of Poseidon 21. The quiet echoes of Thebes and Troy are the final, complex chapter of the great divine family tree. They demonstrate that the gods did not merely father heroes. They inherited the mortal world, forcing their children to live out the consequences of their eternal jealousies, their shifting allegiances, and their gentle, relentless need to enforce the divine order. These quiet, sorrowful stories of the cursed house, the tragic prophecy, and the war fought over an apple are the enduring legends that teach humanity the true price of divine blood, the gentle, inescapable fate that binds every living soul to the ancient, quiet laws of the cosmos. The quiet trials of Odysseus. A journey of endurance and cunning, let us gently follow the soft, weary footsteps of Odysseus, whose journey home from Troy, the Nostos, became the definitive epic of the post-war age. His 10-year wandering was a quiet, relentless trial orchestrated by the gods, a test of the gentle strength of human endurance against divine rage. Odysseus's troubles began with his very first encounter after leaving Troy, the blinding of Polyphemus, the Cyclops. The hero and his men landed on an island inhabited by the savage, one-eyed giants. Trapped in Polyphemus's cave, Odysseus used his legendary cunning to save his remaining men. He intoxicated the giant with wine, and when the Cyclops was in a deep slumber, Odysseus and his men drove a massive, sharpened, fire-hardened stake into his single eye, permanently blinding him. To escape the cave, Odysseus had his men cling to the soft undersides of the Cyclops' own great sheep as the blind giant let them out to graze. This was a triumph of the gentle, strategic mind over brute force. However, as Odysseus sailed away, his arrogance briefly overcame his wisdom. He shouted his true name and home address back to the blinded giant. This act proved fatal to his peaceful return, for Polyphemus was a direct son of Poseidon, the great god of the sea, who from that moment on vowed an eternal, quiet vendetta against the hero, making the sea an endless, violent obstacle. The journey continued through a soft, terrifying gauntlet of divine kin and ancient monsters. Blackie was given the Bag of Winds by Aeolus, the gentle master of the winds. This gift, intended to guide him straight home, was quietly undone by the gentle folly of his own men, who, believing the bag contained gold, opened it while Odysseus slept, releasing all the turbulent winds and blowing their ship far back to the wild edges of the world. Blackie encountered the beautiful, soft-spoken sorceress Circe, a powerful daughter of the sun god Helios. She gently lured and transformed his men into swine with her quiet, potent magic. Odysseus, aided by the anti-magic herb moly provided by Hermes, resisted her spell. He forced her to restore his crew and lived in her gentle company for a long, soft year, becoming a reluctant guest in a cycle of temporary, quiet luxury. Black Circe then directed him to the land of the dead to perform a Nicuia, a ritual to consult the dead. In the chill, quiet, gray light of the underworld's edge, he spoke to the shade of the prophet Tiresias, who revealed the sorrowful path he must still travel. He also spoke to the shades of his mother, Anticlea, and the fallen heroes Achilles and Agamemnon, a quiet, somber moment that deeply marked his soul. Blackie navigated past the sirens, whose soft, gentle, and irresistibly beautiful songs drove sailors to madness and death. Odysseus, following Circe's quiet counsel, had his men fill their ears with beeswax, while he himself was bound tightly to the mast, allowing him to hear the fatal music without succumbing to its call. A gentle exploration of the deep, dangerous connection between beauty and ruin. Blackie faced the inescapable, tragic choice between Scylla and Charybdis. Scylla, a gentle but terrifying monster with 12 feet and 6 long necks, lurked on one side, devouring sailors with her 6 heads. Charybdis was a vast, quiet whirlpool on the other, sucking down and spewing forth the ocean 3 times a day. He had to choose the lesser of 2 terrors, sacrificing 6 of his men to Scylla to avoid the certain, total destruction of his ship by Charybdis. Black, his quiet, final entrapment was at the hands of the gentle nymph Calypso, daughter of Atlas, on the distant, beautiful island of Ajaja. She held him captive for 7 long, soft years, offering him immortality and eternal happiness. Yet, Odysseus's human heart quietly ached for his mortal wife and home. Only the command of Zeus, sent via Hermes at the urging of Athena, compelled Calypso to release him, ending the nymph's lonely, quiet love and freeing the hero to face his last, small voyage home. The Odyssey is the quiet, soft-spoken final statement on the age of heroes. The true victory is not in fighting giants, but in resisting the quiet lure of forgetfulness, the soft promise of immortality, and the rage of the sea. Odysseus's ultimate return, disguised as a beggar to quietly reclaim his family and throne from the arrogant suitors, shows the final triumph of the gentle, enduring wit of the mortal, divinely favored man. The quiet founding, Aeneas and the legacy of Rome, the second great journey of return belongs not to a Greek, but to a Trojan hero, Aeneas, the gentle, pious son of Aphrodite. His saga, though written later, is a crucial part of the divine family narrative, as it quietly carries the lineage of Troy and the influence of the gods into the far future. Aeneas fled the burning, sorrowful city of Troy on the night of its fall, carrying his aged father, Anchises, on his back and leading his young son, Ascanius, or Aeolus, by the hand. He carried with him the Penates, the gentle, sacred household gods of Troy, symbolizing his dedication to family and piety, a devotion his gentle mother, Aphrodite, silently protected. His journey was decreed by fate. He was to found a new, powerful civilization in the West. Like Odysseus, Aeneas faced the active, quiet enmity of a major Olympian, Hera, Juno, in the Roman version. Hera's hatred stemmed from ancient family slights, the judgment of Paris, the fall of her beloved city of Argos. Though she supported the Greeks, she loved Argos, and the gentle favor shown to Aeneas by Zeus. Her persistent, quiet interference made Aeneas's voyage a continuous struggle against storms and setbacks. The most profound, quiet episode of his journey was his involuntary landing in Carthage, the thriving city ruled by Queen Dido. Hera orchestrated this meeting, hoping to keep Aeneas stranded and prevent him from fulfilling his destiny. Aphrodite, Venus, however, countered this plot by sending her son, Cupid Eros, to subtly strike Dido with an arrow of irresistible, sorrowful love for Aeneas. Aeneas and Dido shared a gentle, tragic love, a union that provided a quiet respite from his journey. But the call of destiny, delivered by Mercury, Hermes, on the command of Jupiter, Zeus, was too strong. Aeneas was reminded of his sacred duty to his son and his future people. He was forced to leave Carthage. Dido, unable to bear the quiet, crushing grief of abandonment, built a funeral pyre and took her own life, but not before swearing a dying, quiet curse upon Aeneas's descendants. A curse that the Romans later used to explain the long, violent Punic Wars between Rome and Carthage. This tragic episode established the quiet, eternal connection between love, loss, and the future political destiny of the world. Aeneas's most sacred, necessary act was his descent into the underworld. Guided by the priestess Sibyl of Cumae, he entered the dark, quiet realm of the dead, a journey that symbolized his passage from the age of heroes to the age of destiny. There, he encountered many shades, including the sorrowful, silent ghost of Dido, whom he had last seen on her funeral pyre. The true purpose of the descent was revealed when he met the shade of his gentle father, Anchises. His father quietly showed Aeneas a long, magnificent parade of souls, the future kings and heroes of Rome. Anchises' words established the Roman ethos. Aeneas's task was not merely to conquer, but to establish law, order, and gentle peace for all time. After reaching the shores of Italy, Aeneas fought a final, necessary war against the local tribes, establishing his right to settle the land. He married Lavinia, a local princess, quietly blending the Trojan lineage with the native Italian stock. Through his son, Ascanius, he founded the quiet line that would eventually lead to the establishment of the Latin people, and generations later, to the founding of Rome by Romulus and Remus. Aeneas's story is the final, quiet narrative of divine providence. It shows how the divine family, despite their quarrels, quietly guided the remnants of the old world into a new form, ensuring that their soft blood and deep, complex history would become the permanent foundation of Western civilization. The final quiet, fate, time, and the fatting world, and so, dear listener, we reach the end of the great, soft cycle of myths. The sprawling family of chaos and Gaia has evolved, not into silence, but into the quiet, constant cycles of the world around us. The divine family's true legacy is found in the enduring power of the Moirai fates, and the gentle laws they represent. 1. The law of time. The gentle, soft-spoken power of Chronos, time, and Aeon, eternity, ensures that all ages and all lives, whether divine or mortal, must eventually move and change. The slow erosion of mountains, the gentle flow of rivers, and the quiet rhythm of the seasons are the final, eternal manifestations of the gods' presence. 2. The law of memory and forgetfulness. The gentle power of Mnemosyne, memory, the mother of the muses, ensures that these stories endure, passed down through soft, persistent whispers. Countering this, the river Lethe, forgetfulness in the underworld, offers the deep, quiet peace of oblivion, showing that even the greatest sorrows of the divine family are eventually dissolved by the passage of time and the solace of rest. 3. The law of nature. The gentle love and sorrow of Demeter and Persephone permanently imprinted the rhythm of winter and summer onto the earth. The constant flow of the nymphs in every spring and stream connects every quiet, gentle corner of the natural world to the deepest lineage of the Titans and Oceanids. The heroes are gone, the battles are over, and the gods have receded to their quiet, golden home on Olympus, their great, complex, sprawling family now resting as the stars above us and the foundations beneath us. Their quiet influence lives on in the art we create, the justice we seek, the homes we build, and the deep, gentle dreams we carry into the night. The quiet wisdom of the oracles and the seers let us now, dear listener, turn our gentle attention to those in the divine family's orbit who possess the quiet, sorrowful gift of prophecy, the ability to glimpse the inexorable flow of the fates. This gift, often granted or inflicted by the Olympian gods, particularly Apollo, served as a constant, gentle reminder that even the gods operate within a structure of destiny. The most famous center of prophecy was the Oracle of Delphi, the sanctuary of Apollo. The heart of this place was the Pythia, the priestess who sat upon a tripod over a chasm from which gentle, mysterious fumes arose. She delivered the pronouncements of Apollo, often in rambling, quiet verse that required interpretation by the priests. The oracle's power lay not only in predicting the future, but in guiding human action, forcing mortals, and even gods, to confront the inevitable consequences of their decisions. The quiet prophecies given to Laius and Oedipus regarding their tragic destiny are the most sorrowful, potent examples of this inescapable fate. Parallel to the oracle stood the figure of the seer, the mortal kin gifted with immediate, personal foresight. The most renowned of these was Tiresias of Thebes, the blind prophet whose life stretched across 7 human generations, allowing him to quietly counsel the entire cursed lineage of Cadmus. Tiresias's story is unique and tied directly to the whimsical power of the divine family. He was, according to one soft tale, briefly transformed into a woman for 7 years after disturbing 2 snakes coupling. When he was later asked by Zeus and Hera to settle a domestic, quiet dispute, which gender derived more pleasure from the act of love, Tiresias sided with Zeus, stating that women derived 9/10 of the pleasure. In a fit of quiet, immediate rage, Hera struck him blind. Zeus, unable to undo the act of his queen, compensated Tiresias with the gentle gift of prophecy and an exceptionally long life. His blindness thus became a quiet symbol of his unique sight, allowing him to perceive the deeper, shadow world of fate. Another figure of quiet, tragic foresight was Cassandra, the beautiful Trojan princess and daughter of King Priam. Apollo fell gently in love with her and granted her the magnificent gift of prophecy. When Cassandra refused his love, Apollo, unable to revoke a divine gift, quietly cursed her. She would always speak the truth, but no one would ever believe her. Her true prophecies about the destruction of Troy, the treachery of the horse, and the subsequent ruin of the Greek leaders were all dismissed as mad ravings, making her sorrowful knowledge a burden rather than a help. Cassandra's fate is the tragic, quiet embodiment of knowledge without power, a final, sorrowful lesson on the price of defying a god's gentle will. These prophets and oracles underscore the central theme of the divine family's interaction with humanity. The knowledge of destiny is accessible, but seldom beneficial. It serves to show that free will often exists only in how one chooses to meet one's quiet, inevitable fate. The quiet, civilizing labor. Heracles and the 12 tasks let us now turn to the greatest, gentlest of all Greek heroes, a figure whose quiet, arduous life bridged the age of monsters with the age of men, whose feats brought order to the wilderness. Heracles, Hercules, the famous son of Zeus and the mortal woman Alcmene. Heracles' quiet life was defined by the relentless, jealous hatred of Hera. Even in his cradle, the goddess sent 2 massive, sorrowful serpents to kill him, but the infant Heracles, showing his innate quiet strength, gently strangled them. This established the lifelong, sorrowful pattern of divine persecution that shaped his existence. Hera's malice reached its sorrowful peak when she afflicted Heracles with a fit of madness, causing him to tragically, quietly murder his own wife, Megara, and their children. Upon recovering, the hero was overwhelmed by quiet, profound grief and guilt. To atone for this sorrowful pollution, the Oracle of Delphi commanded him to serve his cousin, King Eurystheus of Mycenae, and perform the 10 labors, which became 12 after Eurystheus invalidated 2 of the initial tasks. These 12 labors were not random trials. They were a systematic, quiet removal of the greatest monsters and chaotic elements left on the earth, completing the civilizing work begun by the Olympians. 1. The Nemean lion, a fierce, quiet beast whose hide was impenetrable. Heracles killed it by sheer, gentle strength, strangling it, and forever wore its skin as his armor, symbolizing the triumph of the civilized man over the wild. 2. The Lernaean Hydra, a multi-headed, venomous serpent, a child of Typhon and Echidna, whose heads would regenerate when cut off. Aided by his nephew, Iolaus, Heracles managed to cauterize the stumps, defeating the monster and dipping his arrows in its quiet, sorrowful venom for future use. 3. The Cyrenian Hind, a gentle, beautiful stag with golden horns, sacred to Artemis. Heracles had to quietly pursue it for a full year without harming it, showing the need for patience and piety. 4. The Eurymanthian boar, a gigantic, quiet beast that ravaged the countryside, which Heracles captured and brought back alive. 5. The Augean stables. Heracles was required to quietly clean the massive stables of King Augeas, which housed thousands of cattle and had not been cleaned in decades. He achieved this impossible task by simply diverting the course of 2 great rivers, showing mastery over the elements. 6. The Stymphalian birds, flocks of quiet, terrifying birds with bronze beaks and metallic feathers that devoured men. He drove them away with a loud rattle given to him by Athena. 7. The Cretan bull, the magnificent, quiet bull that had fathered the Minotaur, which Heracles captured and brought back from Crete. 8. The mares of Diomes, man-eating, fierce, quiet horses belonging to the king of Thrace, which Heracles tamed and brought back. 9. The girdle of Hippolyta. He had to quietly obtain the magic girdle of Hippolyta, the queen of the Amazons, fierce warrior women. This task demonstrated his ability to deal with a powerful, organized female society. Cattle of Geryon, a quiet, monstrous herdsman with 3 bodies, whom Heracles had to defeat on the edge of the western world to steal his cattle. This involved crossing the ocean in the golden cup of Helios. 11. The apples of the Hesperides. He had to quietly obtain the golden apples of the Hesperides, nymphs, guarded by the dragon Ladon, located in the Garden of Hera. He held the sky for Atlas in exchange for the apples, temporarily taking on the Titan's burden. 12. Cerberus, the final, most terrifying task. Heracles had to quietly descend into the underworld and bring back the 3-headed dog Cerberus without using weapons, relying only on his quiet, mighty strength and the permission of Hades. Heracles' life was full of sorrows and violence, but his purpose was one of quiet, gentle civilization. His successful completion of the labors purified him of his terrible sin, and more importantly, purified the world for the coming age of man by removing the last vestiges of the ancient, primordial chaos. For this unique labor, and for his quiet, enduring struggle against fate, he was the only hero granted a final, unique reward. Upon his death, he was quietly brought to Olympus and granted immortality, formally joining the divine family in gentle, final reconciliation with Hera. The quiet art of creation. Pygmalion and the power of divine intervention in love, we turn our gentle focus now, dear listener, to a quiet, beautiful tale of mortal devotion, and the soft, immediate response of the divine family when faced with pure love, the story of Pygmalion. This myth stands apart from the grand tragedies of Thebes and Troy, offering a soothing, gentle reminder that the gods, particularly the kind-hearted Aphrodite, Venus, are moved by sincere devotion. Pygmalion was a talented sculptor and king of Cyprus, a place sacred to Aphrodite. He lived in quiet solitude, disillusioned by the perceived frivolity and corruption of the mortal women around him. His desire was not for power or glory, but for a perfect, gentle companion, a love unblemished by human flaws. Driven by this quiet yearning, Pygmalion poured all his gentle skill and solitary passion into carving an ivory statue of a woman. He worked with such fervent dedication that the finished piece, which he named Galatea, sleeping love, or she who is white as milk, was breathtakingly beautiful. She stood, in her soft, silent perfection, more real and more pure than any living being he had ever known. Pygmalion did not merely admire his creation. He fell deeply, quietly in love with her. His affection was a gentle, human outpouring of devotion toward an inanimate object. He would bring her soft gifts, flowers, jewelry, gentle garments, and speak to her as if she were alive, his sorrowful knowledge that she could not respond intensifying his quiet longing. This singular, uncorrupted love was an act of worship toward the ideal of beauty itself, a gentle, quiet prayer offered through art. The climax of the story occurred during the great festival dedicated to Aphrodite. Pygmalion went to the temple with a heavy heart, offering his quiet sacrifice. He was too humble and sorrowful to ask the goddess to make his statue real. Instead, in a soft, gentle whisper, he prayed only that the gods grant him a wife like his ivory maiden. Aphrodite, who had quietly witnessed the whole of his pure, gentle devotion, was deeply moved. As Pygmalion walked home, the goddess conferred her soft, life-giving power upon the statue. When he entered his workshop and approached Galatea, he saw a subtle, quiet change. He gently kissed the ivory figure, and the cold, soft stone yielded to his touch, warming beneath his lips. The soft ivory turned to living flesh, the stone eyes gently opened, and Galatea was truly alive. Aphrodite herself presided over the gentle marriage of the sculptor and his living masterpiece. The quiet, powerful intervention of the goddess validated Pygmalion's pure love and affirmed the divine family's enduring power to reward profound devotion and genuine artistic creation. Their love, born of art and blessed by the goddess, was a peaceful, gentle chapter in the saga of the gods and men, a soothing contrast to the unending cycles of war and curse. The quiet vigil of the watchers, minor nymphs and spirits in closing our gentle survey. Dear listener, let us acknowledge the vast, soft family of minor spirits whose presence quietly ensures the life and health of the natural world. These gentle kin are the most numerous members of the divine family, and their quiet vigil is continuous. These are the various classes of nymphs, beautiful, gentle spirits whose lifespans are tied to their natural homes. Black dryads or hamadryads. These are the gentle spirits of the trees, particularly the large oaks and poplars. A hamadryad is profoundly bound to her individual tree. When the tree dies, the nymph's quiet life ends. Their existence served as a gentle, quiet warning against deforestation and a reminder to travelers to treat the ancient forests with respect. Black oreads, the soft-spoken nymphs of the mountains and grottos. They were often the companions of Artemis, sharing her love for the quiet, rugged wilderness, and their soft voices could be heard echoing through the high, deep canyons. Black naiads, the vital, gentle spirits of fresh water, springs, rivers, fountains, and lakes. They are the most essential of the land nymphs, as they quietly preside over the source of all terrestrial life and healing. They are the descendants of the Oceanids and Potamoi, river gods, connecting every small stream back to the primordial sea. Black Oceanids, the 3,000 gentle daughters of the Titans Oceanus and Tethys, who preside over all the quiet aspects of the great outer sea, often associated with the soft, gentle waves and the deep currents. The presence of these gentle kin instilled a sense of sacredness into every aspect of the landscape. Every quiet spring was a naiad's domain, every stand of trees a dryad's home, every mountain peak a oread's watchtower. This belief meant that the most common interactions between the divine family and mortals were not through grand pronouncements from Zeus, but through these quiet, gentle guardians. A traveler might rest by a soft spring and feel a naiad's peaceful presence. A woodcutter might hear a dryad's soft, sorrowful cry as he felled an ancient tree. Their stories are the quiet footnotes to the grand epics, ensuring that even as the gods retreated, the world itself remained perpetually alive with the soft, enduring blood of the divine family. The vast family of Greek mythology, dear listener, is thus found not only in the high halls of Olympus or the battlefields of heroes, but in every small, quiet corner of the earth. Their sorrowful passions, their gentle loves, and their ceaseless work continue in the dreams sent by Hypnos, the soft whispers of the Oreads, and the quiet, perpetual flow of time itself. The quiet kinship of the underworld. The trials of mortality continued, we gently continue our quiet focus on Tartarus, dear listener, the deepest, most sorrowful prison of the underworld, moving past the tale of Medusa to observe the final, quiet judgment upon those who defied the gentle laws of the divine family. The sorrowful fate of Ixion. The eternal wheel among the condemned, few figures exhibit such tragic impiety and ultimate punishment as Ixion, the king of the Lapiths, and a figure who committed the primal mortal sin of challenging the gentle bounds between humanity and the divine. Ixion's sorrowful trials began not with a god, but with a mortal act of treachery. He murdered his own father-in-law, Deionius, by deceitfully luring him into a hidden pit of burning coals. This was the first act of murder of one's own kin in Greek mythology, a profound act of pollution. Shunned by all mortals for his sin, Ixion found a quiet, shocking refuge when Zeus, in an act of rare, gentle pity, or perhaps curiosity, decided to purify him and brought him up to Mount Olympus to share the gentle hospitality of the gods. This was an immense, undeserved honor. However, Ixion's hubris soared in the presence of the divine family. He quietly began to desire Hera, the queen of the gods. This bold, arrogant thought, to violate the marriage of the king and queen of the heavens, was the ultimate transgression against the gentle order. Zeus, with his quiet, penetrating knowledge, was immediately aware of Ixion's base desire. To test the mortal's intention, he fashioned a cloud into the perfect, ethereal likeness of Hera, a phantom known as Nephel, Cloud. Ixion, fooled by the illusion, mated with Nephel, thereby demonstrating his wicked intent. From this sorrowful, artificial union was born the progenitor of the centaurs, a wild, quiet race of half-man, half-horse creatures, symbolizing the mixing of base human passion with primal, chaotic nature. For this transgression against the highest bonds of hospitality and his assault on the gentle majesty of his wife, Zeus condemned Ixion to the final, quiet horror of Tartarus. He was bound, hand and foot, to a great, fiery, winged wheel that quietly spins eternally through the air of the underworld. His punishment is the quiet, sorrowful symbol of burning passion and the ceaseless, dizzying regret of one who dared to reach beyond his mortal station and grasp the forbidden, gentle consort of the gods. The quiet curse of the Danyids, the leaky jar. We now consider the quiet, collective punishment of the Danyids, the 50 daughters of Danaus, king of Argos. Their tragic fate is one of the most sorrowful, poignant examples of the divine family punishing an act of treachery committed against the sacred bonds of family and marriage. The sorrowful story began when Danaus and his 50 nieces, the 50 sons of his twin brother, Aegyptus, fell into a fierce, quiet rivalry for the throne. Aegyptus demanded that his sons marry their cousins to cement their claim to the throne of Argos. Danaus, suspecting his brother's malice and fearing the union, reluctantly agreed to the 50 simultaneous marriages. However, in a desperate, quiet act of protection and vengeance, he gave each of his 50 daughters a gentle, concealed dagger on their wedding night and commanded them to murder their husbands in their sleep. 49 of the daughters, driven by fear and loyalty to their father, carried out the chilling, quiet command. Only one, Hypernestra, defied her father, sparing her husband, Lynceus, because he respected her chastity and did not force the gentle act of consummation upon her. The 49 sisters who committed the terrible, sorrowful act of marital and familial murder were immediately condemned upon their eventual deaths. Their crime was a quiet, profound violation of all societal and divine law, an offense against Hera, the goddess of marriage. In Tartarus, the sorrowful collective punishment of the Danyids is to spend eternity carrying water in broken jars or sieves to fill a giant, cracked, leaky basin or bathtub. The water continuously drains away, forcing them to continue their arduous, quiet, futile labor forever. Their punishment is the perfect, sorrowful symbol of an action that yields no result. A ceaseless attempt to cleanse themselves of the quiet, bloody pollution they committed against the gentle bonds of kinship. The quiet sorrow of the half-gods, the tragedy of Bellerophon. Finally, we turn our gentle attention to the sorrowful, final fate of Bellerophon, a great hero and quiet descendant of Poseidon through his mother. His tale demonstrates how hubris can destroy even the most divinely favored mortal. Bellerophon's early life was marked by a quiet, tragic mistake. He accidentally killed a relative and was forced into sorrowful exile. He sought refuge with King Protus of Argos, where the king's gentle wife, Esthenebia, fell quietly in love with him. When Bellerophon gently rejected her advances, she accused him of attempting to rape her, a false, terrible charge that threatened the sacred guest host law Xenia. Unwilling to pollute his own hands by killing his guest, Protus sent Bellerophon to the king of Lycia, carrying a sealed, sorrowful tablet that contained a hidden command. "Pray remove the bearer from this world." This was the first recorded example of a death letter. The king of Lycia, also unwilling to break the gentle law of hospitality, instead assigned Bellerophon a series of impossible, quiet tasks, hoping the hero would perish. 1. Slaying the Chimera. His greatest trial was to kill the Chimera, a fire-breathing, quiet monster that was part lion, part goat, and part serpent, a child of Typhon and Echidna. To accomplish this, Bellerophon received the direct, gentle aid of the gods. Athena gifted him the magic, winged horse, Pegasus, the child of Medusa and Poseidon, thus his divine kin. Riding Pegasus, Bellerophon slew the monster from the air, a final triumph of divine aid over primordial chaos. Bellerophon successfully completed all the assigned tasks, including defeating the mighty Solomoi warriors and a fierce band of Amazons. The king of Lycia, recognizing his divine favor, finally revealed the truth and gave Bellerophon his daughter in marriage, allowing him to settle in Lycia in peace. However, the sorrowful, quiet ending came when Bellerophon's hubris swelled. Having conquered every earthly challenge, he believed he deserved a place among the divine family. He attempted to fly Pegasus up to Mount Olympus. Zeus, in quiet, immediate rage at this ultimate act of mortal arrogance, sent a stinging gadfly to sting Pegasus. The horse bucked, throwing Bellerophon from its back. Bellerophon did not die, but he fell back to earth, landing in an unknown wilderness. Crippled, blind, and shunned by the gods, he spent the rest of his long, sorrowful life quietly wandering the earth alone, consumed by his own bitter grief. Pegasus, meanwhile, ascended to Olympus, where he served the gentle gods, carrying Zeus's thunderbolts. Bellerophon's tale is the final, quiet lesson on the divine hierarchy. Even the most magnificent mortal accomplishments and the most direct divine aid do not grant one the right to claim a place in the gentle home of the gods. The line between mortal and divine remains a sacred, sorrowful boundary that even the greatest heroes cannot cross without incurring the quiet, immediate wrath of the supreme family. The quiet quest of the Argonauts, Jason, and the gentle call of adventure let us gently turn our quiet attention, dear listener, to a saga that predates the Trojan War and represents one of the first great collective journeys of the heroic age, the quest of the Argonauts to retrieve the Golden Fleece. This tale is a profound demonstration of the gods' quiet hand in fostering mortal heroism and the enduring power of gentle love and desperate betrayal. The hero of this saga is Jason, the rightful heir to the throne of Iolcus. His throne had been usurped by his power-hungry uncle, Peleus, who received a quiet, dreadful prophecy. He would be overthrown by a man wearing only one sandal. When Jason arrived in Iolcus, having lost a sandal while carrying an elderly woman, who was, in fact, Hera in disguise, across a swollen river, Peleus immediately recognized the fated danger. To rid himself of his nephew without incurring the wrath of the fates or the gods, Peleus assigned Jason an impossible task: to sail to the distant, dangerous land of Colchis, on the edge of the Black Sea, and retrieve the Golden Fleece, the magical pelt of the winged ram that once saved the children of a Theban king. The gentle company and the voyage of the Argo Jason accepted the challenge, and under the quiet, protective gaze of Hera, who favored him due to his past kindness and her hatred of Peleus, he commissioned the construction of the greatest ship of the age, the Argo, named for its builder. Gathered to sail with him were the elite of the Greek heroic generation, the Argonauts, a collective whose sheer quiet power would rarely be matched again. Among them were Heracles before his final labors, Orpheus, whose gentle music would soothe the troubled waters, Peleus, father of Achilles, Castor, and Pollux, the twin sons of Zeus, and Tiphys, the skilled helmsman. Their journey was a continuous, quiet test of their collective strength and piety. The voyage was a tapestry of encounters with the divine family's distant, sometimes hostile, kin. Black they encountered the beautiful but sorrowful women of Lemnos, who had murdered their husbands, an early lesson in the fierce, quiet power of female revenge. Black they faced the Harpies, foul-winged creatures who tormented the blind prophet Phineus. The Argonauts drove them away, and in gratitude, Phineus quietly provided them with the crucial directions for the next stage of their voyage. Black they had to navigate the Symplegades, or clashing rocks, massive, sorrowful cliffs at the mouth of the Black Sea that constantly smashed together, crushing any ship that dared to pass. Guided by the advice of Phineus, they sent a dove through first. When the rocks sprang back to crush the dove, the Argo quickly rode through the gap, losing only a piece of its stern. Once passed, the fates decreed that the rocks would remain permanently fixed, a quiet transformation of the natural world achieved by heroic courage. Medea and the gentle betrayal, the greatest, quiet trial, however, awaited Jason in Colchis, ruled by the fierce King Aeetes, a son of the sun god Helios. Aeetes had no intention of surrendering the fleece. He demanded that Jason first perform 3 impossible, sorrowful tasks. 1. Yoke 2 colossal, fire-breathing bronze bulls, gifts from Hephaestus. 2. Plow a vast field with the bulls. 3. Sow the teeth of the Colchian dragon, kin to the teeth Cadmus sowed, and defeat the armed Spart warriors who would spring up. It was here that the gentle power of Aphrodite, at the quiet request of Hera, intervened decisively. Aphrodite caused Medea, the king's daughter and a powerful sorceress, a descendant of Helios and a priestess of Hecate, to fall deeply, sorrowfully in love with Jason. Medea's gentle love for the hero led her to betray her own family and homeland. She provided Jason with a magic ointment to protect him from the bull's fire and gave him the secret knowledge to turn the sown warriors against each other, as Cadmus had done, allowing him to quietly complete the tasks. When King Aeetes still refused to yield the fleece, Medea took the final, terrifying step. She used her magic to lull the gigantic, unsleeping dragon that guarded the fleece, allowing Jason to snatch the treasure. The return voyage was marked by Medea's sorrowful, quiet desperation. To slow her father's pursuing fleet, she committed a terrible, sorrowful act of familial pollution. She murdered her own younger brother, Apsietus, dismembered his body, and scattered the pieces into the sea, knowing her father would have to pause and collect the remains for a proper funeral. This act stained Medea's soul and quietly foreshadowed the tragic path her love would take. Upon returning to Iolcus, Medea used her magic once more, helping Jason regain his throne by tricking Peleus' own daughters into unknowingly boiling their father alive in a potion Medea claimed would restore his youth. This final, sorrowful betrayal of Xenia and kinship led to Jason and Medea being quietly exiled to Corinth. The gentle quest for the fleece, born of a quiet prophecy and divine aid, ended not in unalloyed triumph, but in a long, sorrowful trail of betrayal, murder, and exile, demonstrating that even the greatest heroism is inextricably linked to the dark, complex actions of the divine family's mortal kin. The quiet curse of the House of Atreus. Agamemnon and the blood debt, we now turn our soft attention to the most cursed and persistent family drama in all of Greek mythology, the House of Atreus, a cycle of vengeance and bloodshed that stretched across generations and provided the deep, quiet tragedy behind the Trojan War. This family's quiet curse began with Tantalus and was relentlessly enforced by the Erinyes, Furies. The primal crime, Atreus and the feast, the immediate curse on the house was confirmed by the sorrowful, terrible actions of Atreus, the son of Pelops, whose shoulder was eaten by Demeter. Atreus had a bitter, quiet rivalry with his brother, Thyestes, over the throne of Mycenae. When Thyestes seduced Atreus' wife and stole a magic golden ram that symbolized kingship, Atreus feigned a quiet reconciliation. He invited his brother to a grand, false feast of peace. In an act mirroring their ancestor Tantalus, Atreus secretly butchered 2 of Thyestes' young sons, cooked them into a meal, and served them to their unknowing father. After Thyestes had finished the meal, Atreus quietly presented the children's heads and limbs, revealing the sorrowful horror. Thyestes, overcome by quiet revulsion and sorrow, cursed the entire line of Atreus, calling upon the Erinyes to ceaselessly pursue his brother and all his descendants. This primal curse became the gentle, perpetual foundation of all the quiet tragedies that followed. The sorrowful sacrifice, Iphigenia. The curse struck the next generation with Agamemnon, the son of Atreus and the leader of the Greek forces against Troy. As the vast Greek fleet gathered at Aulis to sail for Troy, they were becalmed. The winds ceased to blow. The prophet Calchas revealed the quiet, sorrowful truth. Artemis, or sometimes a combination of Artemis and Hera, was displeased, either because Agamemnon had boasted of his hunting prowess or because of the enduring curse on his house. To appease the goddess and release the winds, Agamemnon was commanded to perform a dreadful, quiet sacrifice, his own virgin daughter, Iphigenia. Under the deceptive, gentle pretense that she was being brought to Aulis to marry Achilles, Agamemnon lured his wife, Clytemnestra, and his daughter to the altar. Despite the queen's sorrowful, quiet pleas, Agamemnon chose his duty to the Greek army and his quest for glory over his fatherly love. He quietly sacrificed Iphigenia. This act was the ultimate, sorrowful fulfillment of the curse of the house, establishing a new, personal cycle of vengeance. It planted an unquenchable, quiet seed of hatred in the heart of Clytemnestra. The quiet vengeance. Clytemnestra and Aegisthus, after 10 long, sorrowful years at Troy, Agamemnon returned home to Mycenae, expecting a gentle hero's welcome. Instead, he walked into a trap quietly laid by his wife, Clytemnestra, who had been nursing her immense, quiet grief and rage over Iphigenia's murder. During his absence, Clytemnestra had taken Aegisthus, the surviving son of Thyestes, and therefore the last living kin with a right to vengeance, as her lover. Aegisthus had been raised with the sole, quiet purpose of avenging his father's suffering at the hands of Atreus. Clytemnestra, feigning a gentle welcome, lured Agamemnon into the palace, and while he was bathing, threw a woven net or cloth over him, trapping him. She and Aegisthus then quietly and brutally murdered him, alongside his captive concubine, the prophetess Cassandra, whose sorrowful warnings about their impending fate were, as always, ignored. Clytemnestra justified her quiet, bloody deed not as adultery or treason, but as divine justice, an act of the Erinyes to avenge her sacrificed daughter and the crimes of Agamemnon's ancestors. The final sorrow, Orestes and the end of the cycle, the curse, however, demanded one final, sorrowful act. Orestes, the young son of Agamemnon and Clytemnestra, was quietly smuggled away during the murder. Years later, grown to manhood and constantly tormented by the divine command of Apollo, delivered through the oracle at Delphi to avenge his father, Orestes returned to Mycenae with his sister, Electra. In the most tragic, sorrowful act of the entire cycle, Orestes murdered his own mother, Clytemnestra, and her lover, Aegisthus, fulfilling his duty to the bloodline and the gods. This matricide, the murder of one's own mother, was considered the greatest, most polluting crime against the family. Immediately upon the commission of the act, Orestes was seized by the furious, terrifying Erinyes, who are the primordial goddesses dedicated to punishing this very crime. He was relentlessly pursued across the earth, tormented by quiet madness and unending guilt. The cycle of violence only ended when Orestes finally sought refuge in Athens, where he pleaded his case before the goddess Athena and a human court of Athenian citizens, the Areopagus. The court, in a quiet, epical decision, was split evenly. Athena cast the deciding vote in favor of Orestes, ruling that the cycle of blood vengeance, where the murder of a father must be avenged by the son, only to be avenged by the Furies, must finally cease. Athena placated the outraged Erinyes by renaming them the Eumenides, the kindly ones, and establishing their permanent, quiet sanctuary beneath Athens, transforming them from agents of chaos and primal revenge into guardians of justice and law. The curse of the house of Atreus, begun with Tantalus's impiety, fueled by Thyestes' curse, and continued by Agamemnon's sacrifice, was finally, gently concluded through the establishment of mortal law guided by the goddess of wisdom. This quiet conclusion marks the final, gentle transition of power. The ancient, personal justice of the divine family was softened and replaced by the reasoned, civic justice of man, a final, necessary shift in the architecture of the cosmos. And so, dear listener, the stories of gods and heroes drift quietly into the night, like constellations glowing softly above an endless sea. The soft echoes of Olympus have faded, leaving behind only the gentle, enduring myths that define the dreams of humanity. Thank you for joining me on this long, peaceful journey through the family of Greek mythology. May the slow, turning cycles of creation and destiny bring you comfort. Until next time, may your dreams be calm and kind. Good night from MoonieGuide.